And now, live from the Man Cave, Studio B, deep in the heart of constitutional Livingston County, Michigan, on a Tuesday night, DOGE Gone Wild Rant, with your co-hosts, Patrick Acton, Norris Hardenman will be here soon, the ravishing Kelli Uphaus, who I will be annoying all night. My friend Dan Wholihan is here. He is our 7th District Chair. Our ever-present earwig, the real Tim Allen. It's his last night with us here at the show in person. Yours truly, Larry Parsons. This is My Brain. Now your host, the man that put this all together so we can tear it apart, Jeremy Scott Gibbs. No saggies were tortured during the production of this show. Well, at least not during
the There it is. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear me now.
You can hear you
That's
now?
yeah. That's my main concern.
I'm not sure if I turned my mic on.
Probably not, because I've got you unmuted. So let's do that.
Oh.
And you dropped your wedding ring down there on the floor. That'll do it.
Oh, man. Oh,
While you're down there, pick up the popcorn.
There's no popcorn.
Because
The
I
janitor
vacuumed
did
today.
a good job.
I had to check, make sure my ring's still on.
We got to hand it to Jeremy. Invites us here. We messed the whole place up. Get popcorn all over the ground. He invites us back.
It's crazy.
See, let's this top of the show. Let's just correct a few terminologies that Larry likes to use. Invite is different than allow. Allow back is more accurate. Hi, Larry.
That was an awesome dinner, buddy. I'll tell you, those ribs were perfect.
They're good.
I'll tell you what. There'd be some jealous chefs that if they'd have been here tonight and tasted that rack of ribs.
Yeah, they were.
It's good stuff. I go between making my own on the smoker, and I get those. Those are the big shoulder ones you get at Meijer, and you have to be just they taste great, and you just got to heat them. They're already fully cooked and sauced.
Oh,
so when
why do you tell? You could have just basked
because I'm an
in the
honest
glory
person.
of.
But I did make the cornbread casserole by scratch.
Oh, there you go.
And I poured the can of beans into the pan and heated those.
Oh, those were good. I had a huge bowl.
So this guy, he gets after me for saying it's big shoulder ribs, but he doesn't say anything about the fact that the beans came out of a can.
Yeah.
I didn't culture the beans myself.
You didn't?
The beans will take a fat.
I thought you
later.
I know. It may be.
Can you hear me?
Do those beans?
Yours is just. Is yours on?
Do those beans have
let me turn you up a little bit.
Extra gas?
You know what, Larry? I'm hoping not.
I hope not.
There's a certain amount.
Beans before I came.
You had beans?
No, you fed him beans before I had to.
but only half an hour before showtime.
Only half an hour.
I'm really. This is not him having White Castle at lunch. Okay, this is him having beans and then.
White Castle would be worse. I guarantee that. Oh man,
I do love White Castle. There is something about those. I had White Castles the other day.
I'm as up as I can up.
She's good. I got her.
You didn't even have to put gas in your truck for the rest of the day.
Yeah,
already had it.
Yeah, try that, Kel.
Oh,
but I did make a hit list.
Yeah.
That's a weird.
You made it on the hit list. You didn't make a hit list.
I made it on
Once again, terminology, Larry.
Yes,
allow,
I did.
not invite.
I am a target of the saggies.
Should be good now, Kel.
Oh, wow. What? What happened?
I never took that close of a look.
Show him that one picture. The sterilization.
John Bovey
picture.
wants to know if your shirt is real alpaca.
It is. It is.
You were good. Good guess, buddy.
Nice and soft and comfy.
Larry is loaded.
Larry is loaded.
Yes. Larry is
Pull
loaded.
my finger.
Don't
even
do that.
start that crap.
Dude,
I'm
seriously.
Gonna hate
Pull two of them and you shit your pants.
you. Oh, God.
Don't pull it twice.
I mean, can we not?
And we've already
Every
devolved
time I want to do
into-
like a semi-serious show, just a little bit, I get, so it's, you know what? I'm just going to go full bore
It's really
stupid
fun.
from now on.
Yeah.
And then I did like it when Larry was like, I got people complaining you're cussing too much. So I went 2 weeks and he couldn't take it and started dropping F-bombs at the beginning of the third show. I was like, okay.
Stop
I see how
cussing,
you're-
Larry.
Anyways,
I resemble that remark.
You do resemble that remark. I think good on audio, stuff like that. Let's get into the show. Welcome back, Big Dan. Let's do it. You know what? I'm just gonna skip us here since we got started late.
We started on the dinner recap.
Yeah.
Ribs,
Yes.
awesome.
Salad, awesome.
Thank you.
Beans, awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Plenty of beans. And then there was the cornbread. That was
Yeah.
I got 2 of those, man.
That cornbread
Jeremy
casserole.
doesn't know it, but when he wasn't looking, I went back and got a second helping of ribs.
Well, there's still some left down there.
Could be.
Could be.
Could
Yeah.
be some.
I did go down and get another.
Right.
Get a Diet Coke. There might be one less rib.
Like I said, we're just gonna do this real quick. Since I don't have anything loaded, I'm gonna. Yeah, go ahead, Tim. Since it's your live. There we go, buddy.
This will be it. Let me turn myself on for everyone else who can't hear me on internet production here. So you go
Yeah,
live. There's
there
the
you
live
go.
mic.
Now we can hear you. All
yeah,
right.
well, everybody else. This is my brain notice. This podcast is mostly raw.
Mostly.
And unfiltered like a chewy Oregon beer. And completely politically incorrect, not even close.
You mean
to
saggies
correct.
won't like it?
Totally anti-sagalicious. We may say Merry Christmas with a Christ in that, and the Pledge of Allegiance because we're patriotic, especially the part about the one nation that is under God that was added. What was it, 54? 50? Something
Yes.
like that. Yeah.
Under Eisenhower.
Ike. We like Ike. We thank our troops for their service. Thank you, Larry, and those that are on the show as well
Thank you,
as
sir.
that are
Watching.
We only recognize 2 genders.
Dangle, no dangle.
Those would be them.
Yeah.
As adults,
That's
we,
official policy
that is,
anymore.
it is now. I remember when we were
That's
playing
not-
the files, and
Yeah.
it kind of evolved over
Right.
duo, danglo. It like went through different
Yeah.
phases.
That's not that,
Yeah,
as they
yeah.
say in Schindler's List. That's not just a good old
Right.
fashioned. They say when they're getting rid of the Jews,
Yeah.
they go, "That's not just old.
Well,
That's
libtards,
just not good Jew
Li-
hating
the
stuff. That's
liberals-
policy now."
It's
the
policy.
liberals say that they like science until you start talking about there's only 2 genders. And
Oh,
they don't
dude,
like science anymore.
Play
Right.
all of the
Right.
clips of them of Obama and all of them wanted Clinton and everybody wanting to get rid of illegals.
Right. Oh,
I,
and,
I,
until
sent,
Trump-
I sent that to you.
yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm referencing it.
And the 2 million that Obama deported.
Right.
Yeah, 2 million. And yeah, liberals that are asked how
Jeremy
it's just
made
too
a
much.
Nazi reference.
Too much.
Oh.
Anyway, we do love Jesus, Yeshua, however you want to say it. Jesus.
I speak English, so I
Yep.
say Jesus.
Jesus. I always put an A at the end, 'cause especially in the South.
Jesus.
Yep. Oh, but I missed the fact that we do cuss.
Oh,
We do not curse or swear. Those are 3 different things. Look those up, and if you want to be legalistic about it, fuck you. Anyway, but we hate religion and religious hypocrites.
yeah.
If any of this offends you,
You should have left by now.
Arrivederci.
Arrivederci.
Hasta luego, puta.
You know,
why
I
you
find it
came
unique
here.
that I mean, it was something I chose a long time ago. Been
Yeah.
on the air almost
Thank
5
you.
years now on this particular
Right.
every Tuesday night for the last 5 years. So
Right.
with just a few nights off here and there, but it's been my spot for a long time. But I give a disclaimer that tells you if you don't like what you see here, go away. I'm not trying to appease or attract people by compromising what I want to share and what I want to talk about.
That's right. Whatever you do, don't say fuck in the show.
I've already said it.
Too late.
Yeah, I had that one. So that was my last disclaimer
There it is.
for
Thank you,
those
Tim.
that wanted to know. I will be departing to then remote in from the show once I replant myself and my mother in the state of Oregon, as people like to say it.
Or
Oregon.
gone down the road. All right. So with that, I'm just going to truncate it since we started late, and I'm going to go straight to this. Ready, everybody?
Oh, I might not be ready.
You not ready? Are you?
We'll try it, but I have no guarantee.
Right.
Hit it.
Oh,
All right. Never apologize and never explain. It's a sign of weakness.
Dan had to catch up. You're a little late there.
A little late,
Try to
Dan.
butt-
Are your feelings hurt?
Were your feelings hurt?
Down.
Oh,
Girl,
baby.
baby girl. Oh, really? Baby? Oh, they cannot take the
There's
words.
another
they
motion to
cannot
strike
take
your
the
words
word.
again.
Girl, I don't
We
think
are gonna move and we're gonna take your words down.
We're
I'm
gonna take your
not
words down.
apologizing.
We're gonna move and we're gonna take your
We're
words
gonna
down.
I
take
am
your
not
words
apologizing.
I
We're gonna take your
am
words
not
down.
I
apologizing.
repeat again for the second time. Yes, I'll
All
strike
right.
my words,
That-
but I'm
we're
not
gonna
apologizing.
take your words
I'm
down.
not apologizing.
Okay, I recognize
These
this.
actresses, they're so funny.
We're gonna take your words down.
Yes. Wasn't that the
Uh,
lady that had the eyebrows or
Eyelashes.
eyelashes that were so long she was sweeping the floor? As she
Correct.
batted her
That
eyes?
was the first comment that set up
Yeah.
AOC and
AOC.
yeah.
Yeah. Now that is a stupid woman.
Yeah.
That woman.
I mean,
is
yeah.
You know,
dumb.
as women
She was
go,
hired for the
you know,
job. She's
yeah.
an actress.
She's an
I
actress.
hope to God that she was a better bartender than she is a congresswoman.
right?
Well, she doesn't even write her own script.
Usually bartenders are pretty smart.
Did
Something
you-
happened here.
Did you ever see her garbage disposal video?
Oh my God, yes, you've shown it before.
Dan, I think bartenders are smart because smart people have to bartend in the process of going someplace. In general, if they become bartenders, though, and that's where they stay, that's not necessarily a sign of intelligence. It's because you have smart bartenders on their
Mhm.
way to someplace else.
Yeah, but that woman's so dumb she thinks Moby Dick's a venereal disease.
That's an old one.
Yeah, come on there.
That's an old
Boom.
one.
What is up with Larry now, man? Larry was in the Merchant Marines, apparently.
That's what I just was reading.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is that a real armed force?
No, that's not. It's not.
John Bovey said you were
John
in the
Bovey
Merchant
was in
Marines.
Oh,
he likes you.
Mariner?
Says you're a Fed.
Larry's a
true.
fed.
We know that's
yeah. That's funny.
I'm going to pull up the quote for the night. The quote from the night comes from the notorious Elon Muscovite.
I was going to say the BIG.
So here we go.
What
This
the
is the
Doge?
notorious. Here it is.
What the
Elon.
Doge?
Bruh.
Raw.
If I wanted to rummage through random personal shit, I could have done that at PayPal. Hello. I have tens of millions of people marked in Social Security as alive when they're definitely dead is a huge problem, obviously. That's the quote for tonight because Doge gone wild.
No.
Do we want to read through some of these?
Over
yeah.
16 million people are over the age of 110. 16 million people.
16 million people.
Yeah. So
Over the age of 110.
There was
16 million Social
There's-
Security checks.
there's
Going
even
to no one.
they're going to someone.
The oldest person,
Oh.
the oldest person alive is 106 in England.
Correct.
yeah, how many of those checks are going to Nancy Pelosi?
Mm.
Oh, probably most of them.
Well,
Probably most of them.
Washing
Or Zelensky.
machine
by the looks of her, she's in this 150-year-old category, so I'd say at least one.
With her
Uh,
eyebrows.
This is a shorted. I don't know if I click on the list if it goes all. It
Oh
does
my
go all the way.
gosh.
There's one person
One.
in the 360-year-old category.
What?
Ah.
360 to
One
369.
person is older than there's vampires.
Well, you know, that
Yeah.
person
Vampires.
deserves a check.
There are 1,039 people in the 220-year-old category.
They all voted too.
I mean, when did how old was Abraham when he passed away? He was 200 something, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
212 or something like that?
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he'd have been in this category. He's probably in that category.
Yeah.
He's
He probably voted.
I want to know how many of these people were on our voter rolls.
I would speculate all of them.
Every one of them. Oh, yeah.
I
we
would
got Social
speculate.
All
Security.
16
Yeah.
million.
I wonder
and
if, I have to
probably
wonder
in
if my
Detroit.
great grandparents they're in the 130 to 139 range.
I seem to think we made a T-shirt at one point that said, "I won't let my dead relatives vote
Right.
Democrat."
My grandparents would, if they're still alive, would be the 100 to 109.
And these are definitely. I mean, we live in America, and we have to have Maha now with RFK Jr. coming in to help detoxify the country,
I'm
at least
liking
from the government side.
Me
So
too.
I know we don't have actual people living to this age like they do in some of the jungles around the world where they
Hell
eat
no.
extremely healthy, and there's records of there's one in Eurasia. There's a place there where
You
they're
leave my age out of this.
where they're purported to be that old, but we don't want to cover that because then people would realize that 100 years
Yeah.
is not true life expectancy.
and B17,
and we could live longer.
apricot,
you know,
apricot pits from.
They have generations
keeps
where
you
it's
alive.
hard to tell how old the older generation is in comparison. I've seen
Mhm.
videos.
Versus in America, you can't tell how old a girl is if she's under 20.
So Kim,
It's terrible.
Tim, you think of B17 apricot pits? That's the answer.
Oh yeah, it's been anti-cancerous for a long time.
It's one of them. Yeah, that's huge.
Huge.
We take
Hard
them.
to.
Yeah, they're really bitter.
Yes,
they are.
They are.
We got a bag of them for Mom, and she must have been entertaining me.
Yeah.
On a couple of the supplements that I talked her into getting because she'd already acquiesced to that decision. So.
Yeah, but if you eat it with the apricot, it's supposed to be,
right.
Easier to.
So
at any rate, DOGE is doing it, man.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what,
What, you think somebody that's 300 years old doesn't deserve a check?
If they exist, then they earned it.
I will say
I would
exactly
like to meet
what
that person.
I will say exactly what Elon and Trump said, paraphrasing. If there's somebody out there over the age of 20, I want to meet them right now. Shake their hand. In fact, what did
120.
120.
100. You missed 100. Yeah.
Trump said if there's somebody over the age, I think of 110 or 120, he goes, I want to meet him right now. And he said something along the lines, I'll build a statue, or he's like, that's awesome. He's like, but they don't exist. So let's move on. So DOGE is going wild on that stuff.
Now, what about the 4.7 trillion that they're?
That is just gone.
Yeah,
gone.
It just disappeared.
What do you mean it's gone?
It's
Like it's gone? It's just gone?
Mm-hmm.
Someone's bank account.
Somebody's bank account. It's
Probably
gone.
in Switzerland.
Few people's bank accounts.
Few people's bank account. Where are you going, Dan? Going down.
My favorite that
There,
no one
I
has
thought you
talked
got
about
awful
is
short.
Zelensky saying, "We're like, hey, so we sent you like $200 billion," and he's like, "Hey, I only got 70."
Right.
Okay,
70 billion.
Nobody's talking about that.
Yeah. It's laundered.
Nobody's talking about that. We sent you how much, and you only got how much?
Right. This
Hunter Biden got the rest.
Yeah.
This from
And the big guy got his 10%.
No, the big guy did.
from Libs of TikTok that Patrick popped over. The Treasury Access Symbol, TAS, not TSA, is an identification code linking a Treasury payment to a budget line item. Standard financial process. I don't know if we have any legal minds here at the table tonight
And not
that would be able to
TNA.
confirm that.
Different things.
That in the federal government, the TAS field was optional for 4.7 trillion payments and was often left blank, making traceability almost impossible. As of Saturday, this is now a required field, increasing insight into where the money is actually going, thanks to the U.S. Treasury for their great work. Yeah, $4.7 trillion.
So if I screw up on my taxes,
Mm-hmm.
they come after me like
oh yeah,
friggin' piranhas.
Rabid dogs.
But they can play with $4.7 trillion and
Don't you remember
It's not a
Rumsfeld being there on September 10th?
right.
Saying,
Right.
we can't account for $2 trillion
Yeah.
at the,
It was gone.
that the Pentagon, but it's $2 trillion. We just can't
Yeah.
account for it. We don't know where it's at. And then miraculously, that's where the quote unquote plane hit the Pentagon in the exact location of where those records would have been gone through to try and figure out where the hell the money
What
went. But
happened? Yeah.
nothing to see here. No conspiracies going on there.
Huh. Interesting.
Dan, let's shift gears. We'll come back to DOGE because DOGE is on fire.
yes, DOGE.
And Elon's kicking ass, and they're just finding stuff. And the big arguments, you being of a legal mind, the big arguments that they're having is who has the authority? Obama put this in place.
Well, these people are saying, the complaints on the left are saying he wasn't elected. Well, neither were any of the damn bureaucrats.
Correct. Exactly. And we've got to get back to not having these unelected bureaucrats ruling over everything. And the fact is, Elon's didn't need to be elected because he's working directly for Trump, and everything he finds, he brings to Trump, and Trump goes, yeah, we need to get rid of that shit.
Did you see the message I sent you yesterday?
Was it on Messenger?
No. So I sent you the directed. So I think what everybody's missing here, and I thought this was very, very interesting.
Okay.
All of this was established under Obama's administration.
Yes.
So DOGE is part of the USDS, that was rebranded as DOGE. So it's funded, it's passed by Congress, the whole 9 years. Elon's hired into a position. That's not an elected position. That's a hired position.
Right.
That was established under the Obama era.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't understand why people have an issue with that
because they're going to find an issue no matter what they're doing.
But it's not legitimate. That's why none
True.
of the judges that are doing the shit they're doing right now have no grounds.
One of the judges has received $127 million through U.S. aid, and they're shutting off the U.S. aid. So he's pissed, and he ruled against it. Why we have one single judge being able to rule against the president and encumber this whole thing? We should have 3 judge panels at the least.
They need to get rid of national injunctions.
Yeah,
because you have a district judge anywhere
that can do a national
injunction in entire country.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%.
Well, I think I'm grateful today that the Michigan Attorney General and a whole bunch of other attorney generals did lose in court. I think that's a great.
What did they lose, Larry?
The judge refused to close down DOGE or to interfere with DOGE.
Chutkin?
So
Chutkin.
So
yeah.
Nasty Dana Nessel.
Nasty Nessel?
She lost.
All right, now we can shift gears. Do I want to start with the GOP chair race, Dan, and have us do that? Or do we want to briefly talk about the lame-ass protest that went on with 4 people?
Well, we can talk about the lame-ass protest first, and then we'll go to the chair race, because I like that subject. But,
okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, we can definitely talk about the 7 people. Or
was it 7?
I might have been 8.
Our very own Mr. Coffee was actually on the scene.
Did he send you pictures?
He did send us pictures.
So there was a bunch of retards that showed up in downtown Howell, and sorry, I guess I shouldn't insult retards.
No.
Oh my God!
Oh, Larry, we can.
Okay, that was the insult to the retards. Just so we're clear.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. The word retard means to be hindered in forward motion.
Yes.
So if you're retarded, you are a person who is hindered in forward motion, or as we would not want to catch something on fire.
Yes.
We would put a retardant on it.
Yes.
And so these people are definitely not on fire. So
no, and they are definitely a sandwich short of a picnic.
True.
That's for sure. I mean, these people are out there protesting.
Do you hear that, Larry?
Yeah.
That's the transport chopper coming to get you because of the shit you say on my show. Hopefully they can't land exactly where they want because of Patrick being stuck in the driveway.
I'm stuck in the driveway too.
All right.
We're going to be pushing everybody out at the end of the show.
That's my house. Sounds like that all the time. There was one time a Black Hawk came in to land by where we live. My husband called me I saw it coming in, and I was like, "Oh damn,
dude, that's really low."
He called me. He's like,
"Yeah, close." I was trying to hear
loud. Wow.
Sheriff Murphy's coming to get us.
Sage called their friends.
Sage called their friends. Yeah. Both of them,
or whoever they paid or their funder.
Yeah. So I don't know what this is a picture of.
There we go.
So there's more than 4, unless
1, 2, 3.
4. Hey ho ho, that's real original.
Oh yeah, hey ho ho. Fascism has got to go. The problem is there is no fascism. Well, there was fascism, but Biden's gone now. So
these groups are the fascist ones.
Yes.
They're the ones who don't want you to speak out. They're the ones who don't want to have an opinion unless it agrees with theirs.
That's correct.
And they say that they're against extremism. You're the extremists. You're the ones for cutting off children's genitals, for putting DEI in schools. You're the ones that are for all that stuff, Dan.
They make up hate crimes too. Twice in this county that this has happened. You had.
Am I allowed to say the name?
No.
Hate crime?
Well, one of them is you had the whole drag queen bingo controversy in Howell.
Yes.
Someone spoke at that meeting, then had a hate crime at their home in Green Oak Township.
Yes.
15 miles away in a neighborhood in Green Oak. I used to live in Green Oak, so I know that area well. You don't go there unless you have reason to go there.
Right.
And they ended up drawing I think wrote KKK or something on.
Yeah, there was a
thing.
Slotkin sign
Right.
that
Yep.
was put up against the garage, and then it was spray painted. KKK was spray painted all over the garage.
I think the person got charged.
Yes, with doing it
with
themselves.
doing it themselves and filing a false police report.
Yep. I do like this
Plus,
picture
they
here.
raised over $9,000.
Yeah, forgot the GoFundMe account.
Yeah, they had a $9,000.
Do you have the quote from earlier? The really nice quote that somebody read to me. Somebody's quitting. Somebody's done.
You have it on your.
Okay. Well, I can't do two at once.
Yeah.
Anyways, I like this photo because it catches hate won't make us great. You're exactly right, and you are some of the most hateful people out there.
Yes.
You are, and you know you are.
Democrats are
the most
party
hateful people
of hate and lies.
100%.
It's what they are. This is a lie.
But I do like.
I think it's a business.
Yeah, you want to read it?
More than anything else.
Just omit the name. But I do like this sign this guy's holding. Maybe he's Latino. Maybe he's of Latino descent because Nazis Reno el com. Nazis and Nazi Reno el com. So I'm just trying to figure out the signage there.
No comment.
He's got to be Reno Elcom. No, you Reno Elcom. His hands are covering his sign. You know what it says. Oh my God, you're so hateful. How dare you?
That is so perfect.
I think it's pronounced El
You just need little
Come.
kitty ears.
El Come. El
How
Come.
dare
El
you.
Come?
El Come. Yes.
Nazi Reno El Come.
El Come.
El Come.
The how dare you? All I could think of is the movie Slapshot.
Yeah.
After the owner yelled at "How dare you" at Paul Newman after Newman said some things I can't repeat on there. Before you could say Jack Robinson.
Yes, Kelli.
So they posted all over social media about basically being called an extremist group. And I got sent a couple screenshots about what was going on. And one of the comments that I thought was really interesting, considering that they were scared to walk to their cars and requested assistance to their vehicles.
Wow.
That somebody responded with, we all have a right to free speech just as the rest of it, or they have a right to free speech just as the rest of us do. We may not like what the content is, but they are allowed to say it by law. The response that one of these people said to that person was, "Oh my God, do you not know that hate speech is not covered by the Constitution? This is the reason our country is going to shit, especially those who claim to be Christians talk the most hate. Don't come back at me with any bull. I get called a pedophile because I'm trans. My friends get harassed and bullied for who they love, and my BIPOC, POC, atheist, Wiccan, pagan, Muslim, non-Christian friends get harassed, denied service, and things thrown at them because people have a right to do it. That's bullshit. I'm done playing nice, and no one is going to talk shit to my friends either. Hate has no place in this world."
That person's a neighborhood Karen. I know who that is.
A neighborhood Karen.
That's what that person
Your
is.
friendly neighborhood Karen.
And
gal.
that's the type of positive,
most hateful
loving
person
message
in
that
the
we want to
neighborhood.
hear out of people that are against
Well,
extremism.
these are the same people that put out hit lists.
Well,
They're the same ones
yes.
that call up employers and try to get people in our community fired from their
This-
jobs.
During
Yeah.
the
Look up-
elections, when Cindy Shaw had posted that she was, I can say her name because she's a school board member, and this is during her time campaigning. One of her followers, I guess, said MAGA Republicans MAGA/Republicans willfully and knowingly inhumanity is what is obvious. Until they are gone, no one is safe. Until they are gone, no one is safe. What the hell? They make up stories about criminals at the border, yet purposely refuse legitimate because they want immigrants to be false political cudgel. I'm not scared of an asylum seeker looking for a better life, but I'm terrified of the white Christian nationalist terrorists with AR-15s and no life. So basically, she's saying we all need to be eradicated if we're not like her.
And the whole, I hate this.
And that's
this
not
continual,
that's not hateful.
But that was before all this.
Right.
That was during the
I
campaigns.
can't stand the bullshit argument that they keep using of this. Listen, if you break the law of a country you're entering, you're automatically a criminal.
Yes.
Then
see,
further, you come in and rape somebody, murder somebody.
Well, they're trying to paint a narrative of something that there isn't a problem with. right? Nobody has a problem with immigrants.
No.
We have a problem with illegals.
Correct. Yes. And how many of these people coming across the border illegally are walking in with credit cards,
right,
given to them, cell phones given to them by NGOs? And who are the NGOs? Catholic Charities and some of the other church organizations that are now suing.
Save the Children.
They're
Catholic
suing
Charities.
the Trump administration because they cut off the U.S. aid money. Mm-hmm. You're a bunch of scam and pathetic
HHS,
bloodsuckers.
$52 million
Parasites.
to put up illegal immigrants in fancy hotels in New York.
They shut the money down and illegally sent another $58 million to New York.
Veterans homeless in the streets.
Yes.
Speaking of scams, credit to Wes Nakagiri for catching this. The leader of SAGE, who lives in Highland Township in Oakland County, not Livingston County. And this person,
sorry.
Yeah, you all right? That's sneeze.
Not even a Livingston County resident.
Not even a Livingston
County resident.
It ended up calling the cops after we think put the swastika on their own lawn or on their own tree.
Well, the tree wasn't on their property. It was off their property. Wes
did some research and has a video out there with the great
Tell Me Some Lies.
Great Fleetwood Mac song, Tell Me Lies.
Exactly.
It explains all the lies this, in my opinion, scam artist is put out there.
Hey, ho, ho.
Right when they need money, I'm sure.
I happen to look up something actually that I find also very pertinent to this.
Yes.
Is when he says scam artist.
Mm-hmm.
I remember somebody had sent me a picture of the said scam artist with the swastika in their backyard.
Okay.
A little history on that scam artist. And I have some news articles from Lahaina and a couple other places where this person organized, and it states that they're expert organizers, large-scale organizers.
Really?
Yeah. Let me see if I can find it, and I'll read it to you. But it's a news clipping, and I was like, "Huh, that's pretty interesting."
It's funny as you're looking. I actually just got interested. I'm pretty sure there was a few scriptures. I just jumped in to a hate word search of the different things that hate. I remember there was a couple of proverbs and some things about hate. About this message of you're Christians, you're not supposed to hate, and there's a few verses that have to do with the stuff that they do, the abhor lying, and the law I love, I hate, the wickedness, the evilness that they do. It's the whole idea of their identity is wrapped up in what they do, and so when we express the hate in their actions, they take it personally.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. When you're calling out something that's in the public square, like say rainbow flags in classrooms, right?
It's propaganda. That's indoctrination.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah. See, they're calling everything that they don't like hate.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
everything that disagrees
saying, with them.
Well, you're calling them out for living a sinful lifestyle, so you're pushing hate when actually we're supposed to call out evil.
To a certain extent, I think just if you think your lifestyle's right and you're not hurting anybody,
I don't care.
Then I don't care.
Yeah,
do your thing.
I don't care.
But they don't want to do that. They want to put it in your face.
Right.
Do drag queen story time in front of little kids.
Right.
At the opera house and make you accept it and give your tacit approval of their lifestyle. I'm like, you want to do what you want to do? Go do it. But the minute you walk down a parade and say that I have to accept it and somehow give my approval to you, no.
Yeah,
I don't ask you to give approval in my life.
Well, consenting adults do's none of my business.
Right.
Leave it to adults.
Yeah. Correct.
Found it?
Yeah.
Yep. It's from the Eugene Weekly in Oregon.
Yep.
University of Oregon.
Eugene, Oregon. Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
This person organized a large-scale animal rescue to help sheriffs retrieve or animals during a fire in Oregon.
Oh, I don't mind that.
Mm-hmm. And the reference is, it's unacceptable that we're this grossly unprepared in Lane County, this person says, who was one of the original people working with the group and had previously held the animal rescue. This person's located in Michigan, but spent a decade working in animal welfare in Lane County. This person adds, the amount of information that was sent was pretty interesting. That they are good at organizing large scale public groups.
It sounds like a press release.
Yeah. Here's another one from when this person was protesting outside of the prisons in Hawaii during the 2020 lockdown and organizing protests to have those prisoners released or fed better. So it's interesting that this same person organizes so many events all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Just very interesting.
Right. And why does she have an interest in Livingston County? She's not a Livingston County resident.
What you said? They're in Michigan
because they don't care about that. They want to stir shit up. They want to force you to believe their ideology, and if you don't like it, you're the hateful one.
Well, it's like all this crazy fascist, fake fascist Nazi stuff here in Livingston County.
It's all fake. It's all made up.
And I believe I sent you some screenshots of this Eric Cooper guy.
Yeah.
Where he's talking about he hates Donald Trump. Trump is a traitor to his race, and Trump is a Jewish pawn. Well, who does that sound like? Why didn't he
Sounds
just say?
Sounds like the Nazis.
Why didn't he just say from the river to the sea?
Yeah,
join his Democrat buddies.
Right. What were you going to say, Patrick? Then I'll go back to.
Yeah, just that no matter where you turn, the left is losing their minds, and they're yelling and screaming, and they don't make any sense.
Right.
So I don't engage with them anymore.
Did you hear James Carville yesterday? Did you hear what James
Carville? Serpent head?
Yep.
I'm going to tell you this.
He told Democrats to sit down and shut up.
Did he?
Mm-hmm. Yep. He told Democrats to sit down and shut up.
Because they've already
lost.
They're
just opposing everything. Yeah. They're opposing everything. They don't even know what
everything
they're
that you can go back.
They're out there
2 years and see they stood for.
Who's that racist black lady from Texas? Is that
Maxine
Waters?
Yeah.
Yes.
No,
now
she's California.
No,
she's California.
Oh, California. Excuse me. She was out there just screaming all of her racist bilge, and Chuck Schumer right next to her, telling everybody, that we're gonna pay, and they're not gonna stand for this, and they got smoked.
Don't pick on Maxine too much. He's the hardest working man in show business. Okay?
Maxine Waters at the Department of Education asking that marshal to show his ID was the best clip I think I've ever seen in my life.
I didn't see this.
Quite literally, she was like 100 years old in that clip. The way she was responding, she goes, "Let me see your ID." He's like, "I already showed you my ID."
Oh,
yeah,
I remember.
Let me see your ID. He won't show me his ID. You show her your ID.
Yeah,
and he's
somebody
like,
else
I
has
already
to see
showed
the
you my
ID.
Well, and they're also, when they're in Congress, they're during. I think these hearings have been phenomenal. These confirmation hearings have been phenomenal because it reveals so much of of how they operate. Because they said nothing of substance, but they get up there and they go, "When did you stop beating your wife?"
Right.
I never did. So that's a no? So you didn't stop beating her? No, Senator, I have never beat my wife. So you're denying that you stopped beating your wife? I've never.
Basically, what
I've never beat my wife, Senator. Oh, so you beat your mistress then? I don't. Okay, I don't have much time, so I got to move on to the next question. Yeah, that's literally how they acted. Every one of the Democrats.
It's theater. It's all theater.
And then you get Bernie. I loved Bernie. Oh, no, we're not going. I never received a single penny from anybody. No, I never received a single. It was all private citizens, not a single CEO, except maybe 2 million.
And Ben and Jerry's.
There was only like 2 million that did that, but I never received a single.
29 million.
I never. No. I knew you were going to go there. Yeah. All right, okay,
I stopped buying Ben and Jerry's.
Get your mittens.
Go long time ago.
Yeah.
I stopped buying.
All right, so we'll move on from the lame ass. I honestly, it's local, it's news. We've got to discuss it. I really have no appetite for those people.
I think
they're useless to me, and I really don't.
As we'll throw this in, I think the big motivation's two things: attention and money.
Yeah, and I don't really.
They want to be relevant to get donations.
Yep.
You have these Nazi punks going out there
They're probably hired by him.
Invited by Sage.
They play off each other.
Yeah.
They get
100%.
attention.
Yep.
Sage gets attention.
Yep.
Dude, we've been watching it on TV. It's called the WWE.
It's
You
super
got the heel and
That's
the hero.
what it is.
And they want to be the heroes, so they have their heel come in. And behind the scenes, they're probably having a beer together.
That's what I
Or
think's
whatever
happening.
food drink they like.
They focus on
I think
Howell, too.
Julie probably gave Eric a big hug after everything was all over.
Yeah,
Good
it's
job.
way too
We
coordinated.
get more money.
It's way too coordinated. These fake Nazis are showing up, right, at these events that Sage is at.
No, it was
Over and
reported
over and
that
over again.
they've been invited because of sibling. There was a sibling connection to
Right.
a boss of one of the Nazis or something like
And-
that. Was a brother, was a brother. A brother in the Nazis had a boss that was actually related to somebody in Sage, something like that.
And it gets to me to
Business.
be just too much. And that's why I say,
It's high school.
because no matter what we say about them on the show, if it's anything negative,
Right.
they feel victimized. You attacked us.
It's
No,
high
I don't
school.
give two shits about you. I
No,
really don't.
yeah.
My life
If
would be
I
better
attack you, you know it.
if Larry wasn't calling me at least once or twice a week to tell me what the Saggies did now.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'd rather hear Larry tell me about his new generator and how much time
I
it took
did-
him to plow his driveway
Yeah.
and how his wife wants a new pantry and all this other stuff than to hear about these
Pantry?
fucking retards walking down with signs
Pantry.
about we hate that you're full of hate. What? We're against extremism, but we're the most extremist people in our fucking society.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah,
These
these-
are two
these
quotes
are the
in a matter of
people-
seconds.
These
Vote
are the
off.
people that want to put boys in girls' bathrooms, locker rooms, and showers. They want to put boys
Larry-
in girls'
Larry-
sports.
Larry-
It's called mental illness.
You got to learn how to say that a different way.
It's
I gotta
called
learn how to
mental
say-
illness.
I want you to learn how to say it in their terminology and just freak them the fuck out.
They
Equal
gaslight.
rights for everybody except people who oppose
Yeah.
us wanting to cut off children's genitals.
Yeah. Speaking of the hate, I was looking at.
And they're still
are we
mad about my
supposed to-
leverage comment from.
well,
Go
they
ahead.
just don't like you at all.
Tim,
I know that.
go ahead, Tim.
No, I was.
You're big bad
Shut up, Larry.
Dan. Big bad Dan.
Go, Tim.
I was just curious about how we're supposed to handle this because David writes in Psalms 139, "Do I not hate them, O Lord, that hate thee? Am I not grieved by those that rise up against thee?" So the question is that there advocates that are obviously enemies of righteousness? I hate those fuckers because they're the enemies. But if they're just confused and
Right.
are searching and they're bewildered, then they're to be loved upon. But no, so there's a number of different verses. I'm like, there's some things we hate.
And I understand that.
They aren't worth my time to hate.
Correct. And I
Yeah,
take it into account, old covenant, new covenant, or previous
True.
covenant.
That's
new
what I was going to
covenant.
ask you about. Yeah.
And then I also take it into account that while Saul, not King Saul, but Saul, who became the Apostle Paul, while he was persecuting
Right.
the Christians, they went into extreme prayer for him.
Right.
And he got knocked on his ass
Literally.
and blinded
Yep.
and became one of the most prolific writers of the New Testament once he got his heart straightened out, which Jesus knows how to do. And so I don't have any hatred towards any of these people. I'm
Well, Matthew 5, you're talking about, have you heard it said, love thy
Yeah.
neighbor and hate thy enemy?
right,
Yeah. It was like 40 something.
correct. Which, yeah, it's like,
But
you know
I
what?
say unto you, love your enemies. Yeah. So
Now,
there's that.
if you were breaking my house, if you're a perpetrator breaking my house,
Sure.
you're going to be met with righteous opposition,
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Indignation.
indignation. If you come at me in a situation, I may have to respond to that.
Right.
But
And-
otherwise, I don't just go away.
Yeah. And if anybody
I don't care.
goes to my Facebook page, you can look. I have a post called "Stupid People Are a Hoot,"
They are.
right? And it's about the Sage Group, right?
Right.
One of the people from the Sage Group, one of the head saggy, says that one, I'm a Proud Boy, which I find hilarious.
Because the
And-
Proud Boys are really cool.
Yeah.
They've demonized them. Like the
Yeah.
Proud Boys and the
Moms for Liberty.
Old Moms for Liberty. But what's the other one?
mean
Proud
assholes
Boys
with
and
casseroles?
the other group, the other big group,
I don't even know.
I don't know.
the
Yeah.
other men's
Offhand.
group.
Oh,
Proud Boys and the There's another group
yeah,
just
I
like
can
that got demonized,
Yes.
and they're both. First, they were called white supremacists when half
They're
the people.
not, yeah.
It's
They're
multicultural all the way
I
through
know.
it, and they were demonized, and they were the groups that were showing up to lend assistance to legal law enforcement, and were usually invited by legal law enforcement to be there and help assist as non-paid volunteers to come in and help to organize.
Right.
So it's all bullshit.
I'm not a supporter of the Proud Boys, but the Proud Boys are not what the lying scumbags on the left say they are.
Right.
You know, they exist. You know, and the only reason I know this, because I didn't know who the Proud Boys were until that pathetic pile of crap at WHMI, John King, came after Mike Detmer and accused us
Oath
of
Keepers.
being
Oath Keepers,
Proud
thank you.
Boys,
Welcome.
right? And so we had to look them up, Google them, and research them, and we ended up finding a phone number and calling and talking to Enrico, some guy named Enrico.
Enrique Tarrio.
That's
yeah, sorry, I
He's
pronounced
the big
That's a
boss.
white guy.
Phenomenal.
Right.
Enrique
Right.
Tarrio. That sounds white.
Because we
Sounds white to
wanted
me.
to know
Yeah.
what the media wasn't telling
Sounds
anyone.
about as white as
That's
Taco
why. That's why
Verde.
we want to know, who are you? What? So they oppose fascism. Ugh. They oppose communism.
How?
What?
They oppose Nazis.
What?
What?
How?
They
Stop.
oppose
But they
socialists.
are
Stop.
the Nazis, right?
They are a group that was formed
What?
to protect the general public from Antifa
I
and
don't
BLM and
understand
other
that.
domestic terrorist groups.
Yeah.
That's what we discovered about
Correct.
them. Now, does that
Slow
mean
fade
I
to
support them?
Norris's entry.
Nope. I don't
And do you-
support any of these groups.
And do you know that
None
most
of
of them, most of their formation,
Yeah.
was most of their formation was organic and no top-down structure.
Yeah.
They just literally had people that started getting together in different places and adopting that philosophy of the Proud Boys, but there was no top-down organizational structure. They were just people that went, "Oh, we like them. Let's form our chapter here," like a biker club that just
Right.
goes, "We like to ride." You
Well,
know,
something else that's in here
less
is-
like a biker club because
is-
bikers have actually some organization.
Yeah.
is the libtards in the Segi group don't see what they're putting out now is that I tried to flunk a millage, right?
Flunk?
Yeah, fail a millage, flunk a millage,
flunk.
whatever you want to say. Now I'm going to talk numbers. All right, as somebody that works in politics, as somebody that works in political campaigns, and somebody that understands elections. All right, what are the chances that somebody can put out a couple memes and a couple signs and stop something that usually passes with 70% or more approval?
Slim to none, especially because your pack, and I looked it up, was a waiver wire pack.
Right.
I mean, you spent less than $1,000 on it.
That's correct. Right. So what I did is I had an issue, which I had parents coming to me, telling me about rainbow flags
Mhm.
and dirty, filthy, nasty books
Mhm.
in Heartland schools. Right. And they brought all the proof and evidence that I needed to know that they were telling the truth. I had all kinds of pictures of classroom doors with rainbow stickers all over them.
Oh, I thought you were going to say dirty, nasty
and,
pictures.
and
Oh, I
all
was gonna
this.
say.
No dirty, nasty pictures, but
You don't share those.
pictures of books and
Yeah.
pages
Yeah.
that said dirty, nasty,
Yeah.
filthy things.
Yeah.
And and we had the next available, shall I say, mule that I could have was this election to fund the schools. So I printed up a bunch of signs, got everybody's attention, which worked like a dream.
Oh, it did.
It worked like a dream, and I ended up getting the rainbow flags banned from Heartland schools. And they ended up taking some books out. I don't know if all of them are out, but I know some of them came out. I do know that.
Mhm.
And the millage passed with over 70% approval, like it always does.
And they acted like they won the Super Bowl
Right.
when it passed because of your memes. And then I had 3 social media posts, took about an hour of my time total.
Right.
Talked about, I opposed this if I lived in the district. I didn't even have a vote in the matter, but if I lived in the district, I'd vote against it as leverage. Leverage makes the world go around, especially when it comes to these schools.
Right.
If you threaten their money, they'll start listening.
Mhm.
Right.
That's what they understand. That's the one thing they understand.
And I got
money.
them to listen. I got them to listen, and that was my only goal, was to bring the focus to these rainbow flags that were rainbow flag stickers that were all over Heartland schools.
Mm-hmm.
That was my goal.
In my case, I didn't like how they treated Glenn, and
Right.
so.
And if you remember, we discussed this about the chances. You and I discussed, about the being no chance of flunking this or getting it to fail. So for all you stupid saggies out there, you fell for it. Be proud.
Stupid.
Do you know it took me like months to realize you were mispronouncing Sage, and that's where Sagging? I thought it was two different groups.
No.
This whole time.
Saggy.
This whole time.
Sage is the group.
Sage
Saggy
right.
is the member.
And it took me to literally last week. I realized that's what you were doing.
It didn't take me long to realize that's what he was doing, but I still have to process in my mind, this is not a young punk kid with his pants hanging off his ass when you're talking about it. Because that's what I knew saggies were for about 20 years. And I'm like,
your boobs hang
I'm
low,
like,
do they wobble to and fro? Can you diamond and not can you die?
you guys realize
I think some of
that,
these women, they drag on the ground
Yeah, I know.
behind them.
I used to
That's
look
what I thought.
Dude,
When
You're
I heard
taking a
Saggy,
look, I
that
wasn't
was
paying
the
much
song that
attention.
popped in my head.
welcome, Norris.
You brought the
Officially
fancy
to the
microphone
table.
for Norris.
Did you get some
So-
ribs down there? or
Norris,
No.
where's your
Yeah, I
bowl
got
of
a couple.
popcorn?
Nice.
So
No more
Norris,
popcorn. You guys are
Norris,
fucking
you're in a
filthy.
new position. Let me see your lean back
Ooh.
position.
There you
I'm
go.
not
Get
saying
comfortable.
that.
There you go.
You got some
Uh,
room to do that.
let's get into this before we go to break.
What's going on with your pack?
Now that's the one that's interfering with me. As
Yeah.
soon as we turn that one on.
Yeah, when we come back, we're going to talk about the Heartland schools and their desperate attempt to get themselves defunded.
Before we do that, let's
What?
get into the. You
Dan?
guys are gonna go into convention this
Yes.
Saturday.
Friday and
Friday and
Saturday.
Friday and Saturday. Norris will be there too. Okay.
And I'll get to the MRP history here in a minute. But first, 7th District, that's where all Livingston County is part of, will be meeting in Huntington Place in Detroit, 7 o'clock when it starts. Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be voting on our next 7th District chair. Not me. I'm retiring as chair. And then,
Norris Mike?
I'm done with being a chair. Then we'll be electing our state committee members in the 7th District.
You mean the non-paid position is
It's
pretty loveless?
it's minus the money you put in.
You're going to try an end table or a lamp next. Chair was just too
Well,
much for me.
actually, you've got some nice wins under your belt as the chair, don't you?
I've been a chair 4 terms, once as district, 3 as county, and on statewide races, congressional races, in my 4 terms, I'm 3 for 4. It's not all because of me, obviously, and but
Yeah.
I'm part of it. And when you get 3 wins, each congressional and for a statewide, it's not a coincidence.
Mhm.
It means that at worst I didn't screw it up. And there's a lot to be said for that.
Right.
Because MRP, there's many that have screwed things up over the years.
You kidding?
And I'm going right, and that's a good segue.
Should we do the
Which is the reason why I'm supporting the guy that I'm supporting for
yes.
chair.
Yes.
We need a change
We
in
do.
a positive direction.
And should we do the parody song on that? Yeah, the MRP, yeah, you know me. Like it's just like cheating and stealing and doing the thing. Oh, my bad. My bad.
Well, in my
So much I have to say.
20
and I'm
years-
not. My lips are
20 plus
sealed.
years experience as a delegate and to state conventions, going to most of them since 2002. And from what I heard, the big split started with MRP around 98.
Mhm.
You had the Engler camp and the Yob camp going at it over Attorney General's race. And they had Scott Romney with the Engler side, and then
Toys around me.
John Smetanka on the Yob side. Yob won a convention, which often happens.
Mhm.
And then the AG lost in the general.
Okay.
To someone named Jennifer Granholm, who we're paying a price ever since.
Is that how you pronounce it? I always pronounce it Grand
Troll.
Whore. I was way off. Grand Whore.
I call her the Matt Millen
like
of
the big ball on her face.
I thought it was
the
Grand.
Matt Millen of governors is what I call
I
her.
thought it was Grand Mole.
That was it, Grand Mole.
Grand Mole?
Jennifer Grand Mole.
I thought Grand Whore because of the way she prostituted herself across the state and to anybody that would buy her,
But our Canadian
I'm
Board
sorry.
Socialist
Sorry.
governor.
That's
And then
just
into the
me.
federal
But
government.
this is-
She had a position there. What'd she run?
Department of Energy.
It was so impactful.
So
nobody
poorly.
remembers.
That's right.
So poorly.
She's a Canuckastani too.
Speaking
I
of
wish you went
Canuckastanis,
back there. Go see Trudeau.
did
I
you
thought it
guys
was Grand
did,
Moff,
did you
but
guys
that's
see
Star
the
Wars guy.
Canadians get their ass beat?
They got a
3
rematch.
times in 9 minutes,
You got
9
a-
seconds.
Or at the end.
They got a rematch on Thursday.
At the beginning, puck dropped after they booed and got their ass kicked 3 different people, and then got their ass kicked in the game. So that was pretty nice.
Who was that?
The Canuckastans,
The hockey team.
Yeah, the 51st state got their ass kicked.
against
No, no. You know
But-
that scares me. All right, I wish Trump would stop. Every time he says that, I get scared.
Yeah, but it's a tactic, dude. It's a total.
I know it
I know
is,
it
but
is.
it's still. The last thing I want is Canada as part of the United States.
bunch
They're a
of
bunch of
freaking
liberals.
I don't want him to be the 51st
Yeah.
state.
Stay the fuck away.
Right. Make it a territory.
Oh,
Yeah,
It can be
Even
a territory.
Alberta.
No voting rights.
yeah. No, just stay over there and fuck tired yourselves out.
Well,
of
there
whatever
was
thing
some
you want.
discussion that the French can have Quebec, and then there's a bunch of really leftist areas
Yeah.
that can just be ruled by a polar bear or something, and then we'll take the places where the actual conservatives, the truck driver,
I'm quite
you know.
certain Canada's like us, where it's the big metropolitan cities that are what you're saying.
Correct.
And
To
the
an
rest
extent.
is
French and
for-
blue.
To
Yeah.
it, yeah.
I hear
Every
you.
But there's
Canadian
difference.
I know
Even
is
some of
like
the rural
totally
areas,
down
they're
for
still
becoming
low.
America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
There's,
different culture.
Hey Norris, you got that mic on?
I didn't have him unmuted. Go ahead.
Okay.
Oh,
Put it.
sorry.
Yeah, and get it to your mouth, please.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Please, thank you.
We can hear you.
Well, he
I
didn't
said it
wasn't
now,
unmuted, so it
good.
didn't matter how far.
Yeah, yeah,
how
that's
far
But
we
going
were.
back to
The race.
the big one on Saturday, I've
Mhm.
met in the history. It's always the problem with MRP.
Yeah,
Faces
you know me.
change.
That
The
was in my
culture
head.
is the same. That's the problem. It's the consultants run the party.
Okay.
And it's always been either Strategic National or YAB versus the non-YAB consultant. And that's been going on for for years and years. A lot of alternating, but a lot of the things are the same. And and I have nothing against the consultants personally. They do a job. I have a problem when they control the party. Because
Right.
what's in the best interest of the consultant is not necessarily the best interest of the party.
Correct.
Consultants get paid win or lose.
Right.
And that's where
And when you win, you get more consultings, but ultimately they don't care as long as they're getting paid.
yeah,
but and the ones that are losing still find a way to get jobs quite easily.
Mhm.
Makes zero sense.
yeah, and
Right.
John Yob gets 50%.
We
That means, and I can't stress this enough. All right, that's one of the reasons why I'm not supporting Michonne, is because if she raises $100 million for the party, 50 million of it goes to John Yob to buy him a new yacht. Right, and I am just at this point. It's not just that with her, but now she's got a Democrat running with her as a vice chair.
Oops.
I personally like Michonne as a person,
I do too.
Yeah.
but she was part of 2022.
And we got our butts kicked.
That is what happened that year. We got smoked. And Joe Sella is one of the other candidates, right? And he's got consulting
agree.
firms behind him too.
Mhm.
And I've seen him speak. Seems like a nice guy. I never heard of him until he ran for chair.
Right.
He was involved in Catholic Vote, which is a good organization.
Okay.
But what have you done for the party? I thought he was this big fundraiser. Maybe he has for certain things, but I looked at his donor record, those public records, and I'm a bigger donor than he's been.
Have either one of you, Larry or you? I haven't. I saw him the other day, but I didn't get a chance to talk to him. Either one of you talked with Jim in the last week?
I talked to Jim quite a bit. I'm supporting Jim Runstead.
Are you at liberty to address any of the 3 issues that have been levied at him? From his
name
standpoint?
the 3, and I will. I can.
That because he is still a senator for the next 2 years.
Yes.
Until he's termed out, that his interests will be divided and not the strongest to run the party.
Well, what about Michonne? Michonne,
these are the accusations leveled. I am fully on board with Jim.
What about Michonne's business?
Jim
you got to remember, Michonne owns a business.
All right. I'll mention this
Norris
one
microphone.
here. Most of the case here, the next 2 years, the Senate and the House are divided.
Right.
So everything that gets through that's going to be passed is going to be negotiated in through conference committees.
And Jim sat down here and did an interview with us and explained how easy it is for him to compartmentalize his time.
And there's not a lot of time in session since the Democrats run the Senate.
Correct.
And so now Jim's got his other part of the job with Senate. It'll overlap with a lot of the MRP stuff because what does he do mostly? Attack the Democrats.
Right.
And that's what he does anyway. And he can amplify his message, raise money for the message,
and inform on legislation.
And the one thing that Jim's done that the other 2 candidates running for chair have not done is won a swing seat.
Right.
Jim knows what it takes to win the closest seat in the state.
Right.
Because he's won it time and time again.
No, it's redistricting changed it, but
it got
2018,
worse?
2018, it got better for Jim actually.
Oh, did it?
2018 was a swing seat, won by Whitmer, and he won it, raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for that seat, and was able to get reelected.
What were you going to say?
Here's my concern with him and that seat. If he's not running, I'm almost certain that seat will go blue.
Well,
no,
he can't.
He can't run again.
I'm saying whoever will run, if he has to step down, somebody else has to run.
It's going to go red.
You think so? I don't think so because it's at West. It's got the Bloomfield.
No, the old district did.
What is it now?
The Bloomfields are out. The old district is.
Okay, I didn't realize that. All right.
It goes up through Clarkston, White Lake. He's from White Lake, but doesn't get Novi or Bloomfields. That got knocked out of his old seat.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
What's his district number again? Is it the
23rd now? It used to be the
23rd?
15.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but that to me that's one of the biggest concerns.
Yeah,
for me is
that's
what
the
happens to
problem.
that seat.
See, he's done. In 2 years, he's done. He can't run no more.
Well,
Yeah, he
wait,
can't
I'm
run.
saying, but in between now, in that 2 year term, he'll be up. Will that seat go blue?
No, he's not giving up a seat.
What? He can't be the head and run keep the seat, can he?
Yeah,
Sure
he
can.
He can do
They
that.
don't
Twice,
compete
yeah.
with each other.
Ron
It's a
Weiser
club.
did.
Yeah, Ron Weiser ran 4 or
I
5
didn't know that was
businesses
legal.
while he was
Well,
there.
Iron
You
State's
can't be a
club.
candidate and be the chair. You're not under the rules, but you can be a sitting official and be the chair. Since Jim's term limited, he doesn't have to be a candidate. And the reason's primaries.
Yeah, they don't want you to have a upper hand in the primary because you're a chair. So that's why they do that. But
So one of the other issues that was levied at Jim, which we've addressed, but I want you to refresh. That's why I'm throwing this because I got to answer these.
Oh yeah, go right ahead. I'm not.
But one of the other issues,
If I can speak for him, man.
that's why I was threw that out and tried to clarify that that he hasn't attended some of the debates that have been set up.
I haven't heard that one.
There was a list of things that came against. Yeah,
on every event, it's not.
It was like he's a no-show for this one. He's a no-show for that.
It's impossible to make every single event.
100%.
There was a session day that went late, and he had to be in session. And that's a fair criticism on if it's a debate. But you plan ahead as on chair. When you're a chair, you can, I won't say set the hours, but
you can plan
you
ahead.
go down there and go there in weekends.
And if you're late to a meeting, your vice chair that's with you can fill in until you get there.
And the same
It's not the same as a debate that's scheduled for this hour or hour and a half. And if you don't make it,
Michonne runs a business, I'm pretty sure. Still does. So
yeah,
that's going to take
bondsman.
time. And I don't know if Joe Sella's got another job or not he was ambassador, but.
So you guys are going to go vote. Explain to us briefly the process that's going to happen Friday and Saturday and what's going to go on. I've been at
Right.
one state convention, but explain to us the process of the three you guys are going to experience while you're there.
Friday, we're voting on district chair, district state committee, and the rest of the district committee.
Okay.
And how long it takes depends on number of contests and depends how smooth things go. I hope it's smooth. I hope the rules pass, proposed rules. They're fair rules. I wrote them. Or I should say I wrote them. I adopted the one that have been used before.
Being on the EC for that district. That's Dan.
With Dan.
I was on there also.
Because I can see Dan going, oh, that's stupid. Let's get rid of that.
He did a great
Here-
job.
I've done that a couple times.
So
This is
quick
what I
question.
think.
Who's running for the district? 'Cause I haven't
Shifko.
seen anything.
Dan
on those
Shifko's
guys.
running
He's running for the district.
for
But what about
district
the other
chair.
chairs you mentioned?
The state chairs.
Yeah.
I'll get to that one in a minute. That's Saturday.
Okay. State chairs. Okay. You talking about the main ones. I'm talking about
But district chair, the district chair, Dan Shifko is. There may be another candidate that runs. I've heard rumors. We'll see if it happens or not. People can run up to last minute on 7th District.
Okay.
For case of Saturday, we have the state chair, and that's between Michonne Maddock, Joe Sella, and Jim Runstead. And then we have, I don't have all these names on top of my head, and then we have the other vice chairs that were like youth vice chair. That's a big contest, 4 people running.
ethnic coalitions.
Ethnics unopposed, Michael Farage, coalitions. Who's running coalitions?
I can look it up right quick.
And then I think admin, you have Dawn Beatty and Cheryl Constantino running there. And for, I'm trying to think the other one, they have Marion Sheridan, Chris Long for grassroots.
Admin, you said that, and then coalition.
Is Marion Sheridan running unopposed or no?
No, run against someone named Chris Long.
Okay.
So
I
what do
love
we
Marion.
think?
She's a nice lady.
What's your best guess on how this is going to settle out for the chair?
I don't know what to expect. There's a lot of people who really oppose one candidate.
It's kind of
And
like
it
last time,
varies
isn't it?
which person you talk to on which one.
Okay.
So there's certain factions. You have a lot of factions going on. You have those that can't stand the consultants involved. That you have those who don't like rewarding bad records. You have those concerned about the past statements of some of the candidates. I'm just going to mention the reasons I'm supporting Jim Runstead. And full disclosure, I've worked with him for probably about 10 years.
I got a chance.
I'm not getting I'm not getting paid for his chair race here. I haven't gotten any money from that account. I have worked for his state senate and his PAC. But you need to raise money to win. Jim's proven that.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things he said when he was here interviewing on the show. Was he said, "I know how to raise money," and that's one of the things that the
he can raise it outside
Michigan GOP needs.
Lansing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing I like.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people can raise money in Lansing if they play the game.
Right.
It's tough to raise it outside of Lansing.
He can do it.
And to raise the type of money that he's raising without the strings attached, so he's not beholden to anybody.
That's right.
Is highly important. And I'm not casting aspersions on the other
and
candidates.
He can raise
I'm just
6
saying
digits.
He has a track record of raising money
Easy.
without strings attached, and that's huge.
Another thing I like, Jim's not part of the factions for the issues that we've had with the major divisions with MRP the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
The problem wasn't Caramo. Caramo was part of the system that was a problem.
Right.
And I voted both for Caramo and I voted to fire Caramo.
Mm-hmm.
And
I stated, immediately on the show that she was not suited. She would have been great for Secretary of State, not to be chair of the party.
I think if she had better
different
people,
aptitudes.
I think if she had better people around her, it could have been a different story.
I was going to say she was
True,
surrounded by vipers.
Dan Hartman and Jim Cope has killed her.
I agree with you, but I also think you need when you come from an academic world and you run a classroom or you run an educational department, you're well suited to go into a Secretary of State where you have a whole bunch of branches throughout the state and you need to connect them and make policy, but then to shift and try to be chair where you need to be grassroots with people on the ground on a daily basis and raise money. It's two totally different aptitudes in my opinion. No matter how much help you get or not, I think you would need much more help if you don't have the aptitude.
The other thing is, why did Caramo win in the first place 2 years ago? People ignore that.
She brought change.
They need to change.
And I'm not disavowing. I liked Christina. I've met her.
She had notoriety because she just went through the Secretary
and we
of
want to
State
change.
campaign.
No, DePerno got it.
Did she get it too?
No.
I thought that was
DePerno got the Trump endorsement for GOP chair.
No, they rejected.
Yeah.
They rejected the Trump endorsement because people saw after 2022.
Yeah,
they didn't want more of the same.
Right.
They want to change.
And that's why Caramo won.
Agreed.
It's because the people did not want more of the same consultant-run problems.
But if you're not a Jim Rumstead type that's been down that road, when you're coming straight out of academia, straight out of being a professor, running a campaign, losing that campaign, and then running for chair, I don't think you have the aptitude to make the type of changes that were expected, which is why it was short term.
But from the last, I'll call it the removal and the election, people aren't recovered from that within the party.
No,
they're still mad. Both sides still mad.
Oh, yeah.
At each other. And you have the major factions, the cliques.
Yeah, look at 2020, 2022, and 2024, just the delegates that we've lost.
Exactly.
To where how many of our counties can't even muster enough delegates to literally send to state?
Exactly.
Let alone the backup delegates.
Who wants to be part of that?
No, because you're like, well,
there's no trust.
Backstabbing, hatefulness.
Yeah, there's no trust.
Yeah, none whatsoever.
Right. Yeah.
And I think
it's still going on with it. That Austin kid, he's youth chair, run for youth chair.
Yeah.
He was told to step down and stay away.
Yeah, I know. I heard. And then now they're taking the Zoom private, so nobody can be part of it at all to ask questions, which is insane.
Right.
But you know what? I ran for a nonpartisan seat, and I was told that if I didn't pay my dues, I couldn't get endorsed. Didn't matter what my policies were. Didn't matter what that I was supported by conservatives. It mattered that I didn't pay them.
Yep.
Period.
Yeah, $35.
And I'm not really supposed to pick a side. Yeah. I'm not really supposed to be.
You're nonpartisan. You're not supposed to be endorsed.
Nonpartisan race.
Let's still be realistic.
And then,
right. I mean, that's a fantasy.
But that's the way it's written. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
And then three people that never came to a freaking meeting that I had been at for 5 years got endorsed because they gave money.
Mm-hmm.
And have they been back? No, not a single one of them. And guess what? Every single one of them will throw your kid under the bus to save their own ass. Will throw your child under the bus to get some more bucks back in the back seat. That's every single one of those people that paid to be endorsed by the Conservative Party. Do not give two shits about your kid. I do.
I saw one of the people with the endorsements over in Fowlerville, Handy Township, and I ended up speaking out about this. I mean, a Redinger got endorsed. I think the candidate's wife's a good friend of someone who's, I'll just say, a very vocal critic of all of us. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to mention that person's name. You can probably guess. It's someone that our party put a mailer out against a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, what are you doing? Did you vet this person?
Right.
Well, I think.
No, they didn't care. It was about money.
Well,
and if you want me to go real seriously straight to the point with what everything is, I can, but it's probably not going to go well.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem is candidate vetting, period. We do a horrible job at that, or not a job at all.
There was no job done. It was
and that's at all levels.
You.
I mean,
right,
top to bottom. Federal all the way down to the local.
Well,
I think we need to have certain
huge
standards.
Well, and I think Trump got better at it, but there was endorsements that he's made even just this past election that we all cringed at.
Oh yeah.
We're like,
well,
How did you endorse that guy?
I mean, the dude that's the Secretary of Interior literally sold his whole state to China, but that's beside the point.
Right.
I mean, like literally China
well,
Red.
And that's basically on the consultants that he has around him, right? You know, people that he has around him. Like,
We're talking local party, though.
But
And that's the thing.
even then, I mean, it's still the same.
But,
right?
they did vet because the first time I ran, this is my second race. So the first time I ran, they did vet us. We had interviews. We sat down. Megan Reckling was in charge then. They set up a consulting team. They were like, hey, and I didn't have to pay a cent to be part of that. And they interviewed all of us. It was all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that wanted to come, they were interviewing to see who they would back. That's the way it was done. This time it was done. I don't like her. She's got a big mouth and she's already talked too much. So we're going to silence her. She's not allowed to talk on our Facebook page. I'm talking about me specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of it, we're going to take these 3 strangers that showed up out of nowhere and gave us money, and we're going to endorse them for your kids while we've got transitional bathrooms going on. And this lady who's run now for the second time, who cares about your kids, we're not going to endorse her because we don't like what she said before. That's what this was. And it's bullshit. And that's what people are over. And that's why people are angry. And that's why people want change. Because that's what they are doing.
Well, I want change desperately.
Give me a final thought on the chair race before we go to break. And then if you guys can see it right above my head, you want to support the show. One of the great ways to do that is through the AlexJonesStore.com. They got great products I've been using for years on there. If you go to thealexjonesstore.com/this is my brain, we actually get a portion of the proceeds on that portal. Dan, final thoughts before we go to break.
Reason I'm supporting Senator Jim Runstead. One, he's won a swing seat. The others have not. He knows how to raise the money. The others, maybe they can. They gotta prove it.
Right.
And the factions. Jim doesn't care about your faction. Jim wants to win elections. That's why he's running.
Right.
It's what needs to be done. He's focused on task at hand. And I think he could be the best chair MRP's ever had. I really believe that, at least during the time I followed.
Mm-hmm. And his track record as a conservative voter.
Oh, yeah. He doesn't need to say he's conservative.
Yeah.
His record's easy for everyone to look up.
He bears the fruit.
He does. And that's what we're looking at is fruit.
And I wholeheartedly agree with that. I think Jim Runstead can be the best chair that we've ever had. And I think he will win in 2026, where I do not have any confidence the other 2 chairs can win.
And if it's an even up year, I'm not confident in the other 2. I hate saying that.
Right.
If it's an even up year, if it's a red wave, it won't matter. We're lucky.
Right.
But we can't count on that. Blue wave could be trouble no matter what.
All right. And with that, we're going to take our one and only break. Go to thealexjonesstore.com/this is my brain. Check out some merchandise. Get the new gummies. They're awesome. The turmeric gummies. They're not the CBD gummies, even though they do have some of those. Those are great too. The turmeric gummies, phenomenal. There's a whole bunch of other stuff on there. I take the Nitric Boost. I take the Brain Force Ultra. I take the, being a singer, I love using the lung cleanse. I keep that Brain Force and lung cleanse in my truck, and I do a quick spray if my voice is feeling a little bit. The pollen block is awesome. If you've got seasonal allergies, they're made from quail eggs out of France, and quail egg shells out of France. Phenomenal. And I've given them to several people that come in here because they know to go to the second drawer here in the man cave and get their get something if they need it. And there's always the Turbo Force is back in stock. That stuff's phenomenal. It's a natural caffeine, time release, natural 5 caffeines, give you up to 10 hours of natural energy. Just dump it in some water or your favorite drink and stir it up.
And have a heart attack.
Thanks, Larry. Trying to get people to support the show, and
I'm making a joke. I know. I'm sorry.
We're going to break now while I beat the shit out of Larry. See you guys in a minute.
You could raise money by beating the shit out of me and charging saggies.
You know what they did on that? They did that on hockey. They did that in hockey.
is my brain.
Putting a little production value into the transition.
DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, is now focusing on FEMA, the Federal Emergency Mismanagement Agency, which you may recall wasted all of their money funding illegal aliens, putting them up in fancy hotels in New York City and Manhattan, across the country. And so they didn't have any money when Hurricane Helene hit the East Coast.
FEMA is going to be playing a pivotal role in our shelter and services program that is poised to distribute $363 million
to the criminal invader illegal aliens,
to cities and communities in need of funding.
And then they wondered why this happened.
We do not have the funds. FEMA does not have the funds to make it through the season.
Of course not, but thank God for DOGE, who, if they haven't already, will soon discover the people responsible for making those payments, and they're going to be fired. Few Americans know that in New York, under the Biden administration, 20% of the hotels in New York City, including in Manhattan, which is ridiculously expensive, were being used to house the criminal invaders. And speaking of criminal invaders, it's long overdue that Ilhan Omar be investigated for the alleged immigration fraud by apparently marrying her brother so that he could get papers to then stay in the United States. The Marxist Democrats and their mouthpieces in the media are increasingly upset about DOGE, obviously, and now the 19-year-old who goes by the handle Big Balls, who's part of the DOGE team, now has a State Department email address since he is a staffer now for a government agency.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with Musk and Big Balls.
Anderson Cooper's favorite topic.
Big balls.
Big balls. Big Balls, who work for Elon Musk's so-called Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE.
The so-called Department of Government Efficiency? Sure looks like things are getting an awful more efficient to me.
DOGE, in the one case of the Big Balls kid, a literal teenager.
Big Balls online, Big Balls here, that Katie's talking about. A 19-year-old that goes by the username Big Balls. So that would be one way that we could refer to him.
Literally every day, these lunatics are getting increasingly unhinged. Here is Democrat Congressman Kwefsi Mafum, or however you pronounce this loser's name, from Maryland.
This will be a congressional fight, a constitutional fight, a legal fight.
In order to stop cutting government waste. That's what they're upset about.
And on days like this, a street fight. Yes, we will stand.
That's what communists do. They organize useful idiots into angry mobs to threaten and intimidate normal people in whatever country it is they're trying to overthrow because, well, normal people don't want anything to do with the commies. Here is a reverend at a Baptist church in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
And in this nation, I'm worried that we are on the verge of bloodshed.
Yes, that's why we need to round up and arrest those on the left who are making such ridiculous threats.
This is an attempt to take us back to a day that we do not want to go and we will not go.
Where the government was efficient and the budget was balanced?
Therefore, there will be conflict. I pray that the peace of God will win out and overcome the madness that is attempting to take over this nation. And I will say to you, beloved, no one likes violence, but sometimes violence is necessary. When Elon Musk forces his way into the United States Treasury and threatens to steal your personal information and your Social Security check, there is the possibility of violence. Sometimes the devil will act so ugly that you have no other choice but to get violent.
Speaking of the devil, he's standing at that podium right there.
I'm going to try my best not to preach.
Yeah, sister, you go, girl.
I just want to say thank you. Because every day that we show up in D.C., we show up for you. We know who we work for.
You work for the illegal aliens, but thankfully we're rounding them up and deporting them.
We know that we work for the American people. And what we're not going to do is stand around while they pull this bullshit that they trying to pull right now.
Okay. Excuse me, you ratchet hoe. We don't use language like that around here.
This is why I'm not going to be able to preach, because I probably won't be able to stop cussing. But let me tell y'all something. I know some of y'all have been frustrated. And you've been saying, where are Democrats? Where are our leaders?
Your party has been humiliated. You have no leadership. It's in complete disarray. And instead of trying to come to grips with reality and coming back to some normal policies, he decided to double down on wokeness. Here's Mark Cuban, best known for getting extremely lucky during the dot-com boom by having one of the companies he invested in get purchased by Yahoo for billions of dollars, which then realized that it wasn't even profitable and then shut it down, saying, some normal things back in 2017 about cutting government waste and government spending.
As a libertarian, I think we can reduce employment in government by at least a third, reduce the overhead and administration by that much or more, so that we can offer more to services for our citizens. And so if when it comes down to it, where I tend to disagree with everybody, and this is the libertarian in me, I'm happy to push down the size of government, and I'm happy to work on making government more efficient, because then more money can pass through and help the people who need it.
That was obviously before he came down with Trump derangement syndrome, because now he is one of Elon and Donald Trump's biggest critics and thinks that DOGE is ridiculous. Here's Jon Stewart, who occasionally does call out the left for their nonsense, or just general nonpartisan nonsense that every American can agree on, or at least used to agree on before Trump derangement syndrome, talking about the Pentagon just wasting countless billions of our dollars. This is him sitting down with Joe Biden's defense deputy secretary.
To be doing, there is a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse within a system.
Audits and waste, fraud, and abuse are not the same thing. So let's decompose these.
Please educate me on
sure.
What
so an audit is exactly.
This is in light of the Pentagon failing their 7th audit in a row.
Which you just described,
yes.
Which is, do I know what was delivered to which place?
Right.
The ability to pass an audit, or the fact that the DOD has not passed an audit, is not suggestive of waste, fraud, and abuse. That is completely false right there. So
what is
now is a question of, it's suggestive that we don't have an accurate inventory that we can pull up of what we have where. That is not the same as saying we can't do that because waste, fraud, and abuse has occurred.
So in my world,
yeah,
that's waste.
How is that waste?
If I give you $1 billion and you can't tell me what happened to it, that to me is wasteful. That means you are not responsible. But if you can't tell me where it went, then what am I supposed to think?
And now CBS News has an exclusive interview with one of the USAID employees who has been fired for wasting our tax dollars on, transgender surgeries for people in third world countries, among other things.
Why in our conversation do you think you need to remain anonymous?
It has been a very hard week. Personally, professionally, as I said, I live in Washington, D.C. Many of my colleagues work in this field. Starting from January 21st, so the first day of the new administration,
they're making it seem like this is some groundbreaking whistleblower. That's why they put him in a silhouette, and they're even disguising their voice because they got their feelings hurt because they were laid off. I mean, what's next? Are they going to claim that the DOGE layoffs are disproportionately affecting black people and are racist? Oh, wait, what's this?
The federal workforce is the largest employer in the nation, and federal data shows that black Americans who have historically found greater equity in the public sector compared to the private sector will disproportionately bear the brunt of Trump's effort to gut the federal workforce.
What he means is a bunch of DEI hires are going to be fired. Bye-bye!
This is my brain.
That is the longest second. Is that clock calibrated properly? Because that seemed really slow.
Yeah, welcome back to the show, everybody. And no saggies were hurt in the filming of the second part of this show.
That you know of.
Not by your hand.
Well, they get their feelings hurt real quickly.
Oh.
They said mean things to me. I will call their boss and get them fired.
You don't know if they weren't hurt.
Oh, they're hurting their own minds.
You didn't accept
with your
me
microaggressions and your macro facial expressions.
Maybe it's time for him to fake another hate crime. Maybe they can. They can take turns painting swastikas on their trees.
I did find it fun though. They got labeled an extremist group.
Well,
That
they
was
are an
fun.
They are
extremist
extremist group. Tim, give me this one. It's not showing up.
Oh, that's a nice class.
If you guys can see that.
Did you see the Trump class
There it
that's
is.
available with the bullet in it?
Oh, I saw that one.
I did see that, but I'm showing off this current one that's in my hand right now, Larry. You want to look at that one?
45,
Donald Trump,
47.
45, 47.
Can I see that?
one?
I got 4 of these.
okay.
Actually, we went to the we dipped into Amazon.
Really? They have
Can we
that?
hold it
Evil,
up?
yeah.
there?
Oh yeah.
Really? Okay.
They'll sell anything to make a buck. They don't care. They don't care. But yes, I've seen the bullet one. I've seen the other ones, and I thought these were going to be 12 ounces. They're only 10 ounces, so that makes me refill my Di Serono faster.
It was better.
Well, it means it stays iced longer because you drink it.
To drink it faster. Yeah.
George
You
Soros.
guys sharing? You sharing over here? Look at this.
Sorry about that earlier pass.
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
funny
in the
how the
back pass.
hypocrite Democrats are now all of a sudden mad at billionaires.
Let's look at that one. If I can, my keyboard's not working, so I'm going to manually do it.
Millionaires off our backs. They can't be billionaires off our backs.
Let's see this one. No billionaires in government.
Isn't it funny that
George Soros is pointing at
by USAID?
George Soros is pointing at Elon.
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
George Soros is one of the biggest demonic scammers and thieves you've ever seen. And where did he learn to do that?
USAID, don't they give money to Green Dove Construction?
They give money to everything.
Everything. And where did George Soros learn to steal
From the Nazis.
from the Nazis?
From
When
the
he went
Nazis.
around and as a Jew, little Jew boy, he would turn over all the other Jews.
And then he would be
And he
allowed
would
to
go-
take their wealth.
He said it was happy making time. They said, "Was there any
Well,
conflict in
they
your mind?" He's like,
And
"No,
in
no,
his
no. It was
interview, he had no
it was-
conscience of it.
it was as
No,
happy
right.
making
Of course,
time."
he has no conscience. Did he also
Get on that
kill-
microphone.
Did he also
Sorry.
kill the English economy at one point in time?
He's gone through and raped and destroyed multiple countries.
Yeah, doesn't
Multiple
Russia want him? Isn't he wanted?
There's
in
multiple
Russia?
countries that have him.
Yes.
Speaking of people like that,
Oh, did you hear Idaho's going after Fauci?
who's
Idaho.
Idaho's going
Idaho's
to
going
Way to
after
go,
Fauci.
Idaho. Really?
Idaho
Way to
was
go.
like, he may have been given a pardon for federal
Federal
crimes,
doesn't count
but
for
he
state,
is
baby.
not
Exactly.
counting for state.
And I said that when
Did she just say Idaho?
No, she not
Idaho.
Idaho.
Oh.
Idaho.
Oh boy, we got holes everywhere now.
I said that.
Feel like I'm back in Detroit.
Don't even get me started.
When they offered all of these, or when they gave all the pardons, I said, yeah, that can protect you from federal, but it ain't going to protect your ass from state, and it ain't going to protect your ass from private civil, and it's not going to protect your ass from other countries coming after you.
Yeah.
And the fact that most of the people Biden pardoned in his last couple of days had multiple international dealings and ripped off individual people that
Do
could
you mean
just think
an
about
international criminal court?
just think about a group of people
Not
that
that
got
many.
the vaccine,
Give them any
the jab.
Or old
So
school
YouTube does,
extradition.
right? They got the jab and they got injured. And now they form a class action civil lawsuit against Anthony Fauci. Do you think your little pardon from Biden's going to protect you from that?
No.
You little Joseph Mengele 2.0?
Didn't they just?
He's wanted
didn't
to
they?
hate.
Yeah, and he's made a lot of money
Wasn't it
since
just
he's been in
ruled that?
government.
Yeah, that's the
Free-
sad thing about the
Wasn't the preemptive pardons ruled unconstitutional?
Were they?
not yet. No.
Not yet.
Doesn't
I haven't
have to
heard
be
anything.
by Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Well, they're looking at it.
Is it? Have we?
I don't know if they are looking at it yet or not. I'm sure they will
It's in the
in some
pipeline?
case, but
All right. What were you going to say, Larry? Was it very important? Did you lose it?
He forgot it.
Norris, what were you going to say?
I lost my train of thought too.
Jesus.
all gone.
You guys, you can't interrupt me. I'm getting old. Shit. gotta let me have
Listen to that guy. What is he, 40?
Shit, I wish.
I have a question, and this is kind of off track. Have any of you guys heard of methylene blue?
Not offhand.
Mescaline blue?
Sounds like a drug of some sort.
Yeah, exactly.
Methylene blue.
Only thing I can think of is the additive they got to put in diesel
I
trucks.
have heard
That's not
of
it.
but I can't remember exactly what it is.
What is
So I was introduced to it last week, and I've only taken it once.
What the hell is that? you got some explaining to do,
So
Lucy.
it helps with blood circulation and oxygenating your blood.
So it's not nitric oxide?
No.
Different.
And yeah, but
It's not meth.
No, it's not meth. It makes your pee Smurf blue, but
Ooh, that doesn't sound good.
but it's supposed to help with small chain reoxidization, or it's supposed to help with a lot of things. Gives you energy with no crash, that kind of stuff, and helps your brain function a little better.
Okay.
So I was doing research on it after this person introduced me to it and was like, try this. And I tried it, and I'm going to tell you, I am not tired at all.
Nice.
Not even a little bit.
That's how I feel with nitric boost.
Long-term effects?
I think that's pretty much what it does for you.
Well,
Long-term effects, they say not to take it consistently. So if you take it, if you take it 5 days, take 2 days off, or if you take it 10 days.
Which honestly is a lot of the natural supplements.
That's everything.
Is you're supposed to.
Yeah,
You're never
you're
supposed to take
a
something
break.
constantly because your body builds up a tolerance for it, and then it no longer is effective.
Yep.
You need to take periodic, intermittent fasting on everything that you do.
So,
and the
what is it called? Methylene blue?
Methylene blue.
Where do you get it at?
I don't know because I didn't buy it, but I'm going to look for some. I called every vitamin store in Brighton. They didn't have it. So,
okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of nitric oxide products out there you can get. But I want to address something you said. You said it will take a Supreme Court decision to change that. I don't know about that because there's a lot of lower courts are making decisions on executive orders. They seem to just decide whatever they want to do. Some illicit judge out in the middle of no fucking where decides that he doesn't like what Trump's doing and he rules against it. And we have to sit back and wait.
Well, but we're only waiting for it to get to
It gets
Supreme
appealed.
Court.
That's why
It happens both
Supreme
ways.
Court.
Republicans do the same thing when we're not in power as well, right? We judge shop. I mean, so it's not anything new, unfortunately, but yeah. But the point is, the difference is that these are executive actions which are strictly within the executive branch, and they really don't have any jurisdiction there. Yeah. So that's the difference in this case.
And then state judges, unfortunately, MRP again dropped the ball in the last several years on those. We have a dominant Supreme Court by the Dems now.
We're not going to judge according to the Constitution,
Well,
but according to their own.
Michigan used to have a great constitutional
Markman,
court.
Taylor, and Young.
We've had some, Markman, Taylor, Young, Corrigan, Zara. I mean, we have had some great justices in Michigan.
Yeah.
But now we have a bunch of buffoons.
But
we have people on the Supreme Court that's never sat as judges.
Yeah, we dropped the ball on this election, though, right? The 2020.
Yes.
Last several,
election.
really.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Ever since Snyder
especially this
pushed
last
Beth
one,
Clement.
There was zero support for these last
Supreme
two
Court
judges.
justices. Yeah, they had $250,000, while the liberals had $3.5 million. Right.
Right.
And this is something, and I will criticize our own party who dropped the ball in Livingston County. I don't have to drop names, but they left the Supreme Court off the mail.
Because they didn't pay.
Judges can't pay.
Right?
Judicial canons.
Because they're what?
Judicial canons.
Because
Or candidates.
they're what? Nonpartisan.
Yeah.
Sorry, just have to point that out.
Actually, judicial canons not allowed to. Judges aren't allowed to be members of a political party, but parties can support judges.
Right.
Ours chose not to because they didn't pay.
Speaking of totally different subjects, how many saw Trump there at the Indy 500?
Yeah, wasn't that awesome? Now, did he take the
Daytona 5? What did I say?
Did he take his big old presidential limo onto the?
Oh yeah, he did. He did that before at a different race, but yeah, he's done that. Pretty sweet.
My wife said that she said that the news reported he took the beast out and led the race.
He
did the pace car.
I saw
He did.
video of it.
Did he actually do the pace car?
Yeah, the pace car thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tim. My thing just crashed.
He wasn't out there,
But
he wasn't out there hauling ass. He was just kind of cruising.
So
around.
we're the only ones
Had
that
his
can see that now.
granddaughter in the car with him.
But yeah, they took the beast out there. He did this 4 years ago.
There you go. He's
Yeah,
getting
that's
in
how he
there.
did
The Great
before,
American
yeah.
Race, and he gets out there. And does anybody quick on their phones, since my computer is not cooperating?
What do you mean?
How much does that fucking car weigh?
The beast?
Undetermined. It's
Yeah, they're not
it's
going to
classified.
tell
They
you.
won't say.
They're not
But
going to tell you that.
That's
Yeah, no.
classified. Yeah, so you're not going to get that.
It's well over.
24,000 pounds as well.
Yeah,
24.
it's
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, you got to remember that thing is armored with with bulletproof glass. They got run flat tires. I
Yep.
mean, you got
everything to keep the press
you can't
safe.
shoot out the radiator because it's protected. I mean, that
Right.
car is.
It's a tank.
It is a tank.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah.
But will it make it through Jeremy's parking lot?
But I do, I do remember.
I don't know.
I do remember what
Good
I was
question.
about to say.
Well, I'm glad you remember.
When
Larry.
we
I'll
were
interrupt
talking
you while you
about
say
all
it.
that legal stuff, I was going to mention bias in the Justice Department because, like the states that can sue Fauci, but like here in Michigan, we have political hacks.
It's going to be
that
it goes
have
both ways, right?
that
That's
are
the
going to
problem.
turn around. They're going to turn around. They're going to go after like Republican electors and try and barbecue them.
Right.
But when it comes to people like Sarah Cross who violate the law,
no big deal.
That's no big
Well,
deal.
no big deal.
Do you know anything about that, Dan?
Weighing in at 20,000 pounds.
Last
Just
I
outfitted
saw,
with an
it
advanced
got referred to the AG, and
as
that's
you
where it
know.
is.
Yeah.
All right, weighing in at 20,000 pounds.
That was
and-
at the 2018 debut.
Okay. And what you guys saying? Because you were like,
Well, the case against Sarah Cross, I believe it's called Cross versus Wholihan.
Who's Sarah
Is that right?
Cross?
Other way around. but-
Wholihan versus Cross.
Oh, you.
Yeah.
did you win, Dan?
Yes and no. I
Settled out of court.
No, I won. It got referred to the AG, so I won with the Secretary of State, but that's where it ended.
Nice.
As far as I know.
So there's Trump at the. Tim tried to zoom in. Tim, see if you can do that little trick again. I don't know if you had it programmed. Oh, yep, there it is. Yep.
No, I didn't set it as a program.
We'll get the Mountain Dew bottle up there. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty cool to see him at the race.
Yeah. This was Alex Jones. I don't even know if I'm gonna unmute it here, but he posted this. You guys can check out the video yourself. But just look at the headline: breaking. The U.S. government claims it has almost 5,000 tons of gold.
I've heard it hasn't been audited since 1956. So I don't
But
think that's
Fort Knox has not been audited since 1974.
I heard 56.
And whistleblowers have reported that for over 40 years, the gold's missing. It's time for Elon and DOGE to conduct the full audit. What,
Yep.
Kelly? Good God.
This pertains.
Is this in line with it? You're not
The
going to
Bank of England has defaulted on technical gold deliveries, revealing that in gold reserves that its gold reserves exist only in paper. This is today.
Yeah.
Today. Wow.
I've heard that, and I've heard that it's not just them. I've heard that gold has been passed around to multiple countries.
The Bank of
So
England
there it's all vaporware.
has basically issued a statement saying that it can deliver its gold to clients within 4 to 8 weeks, which is illegal under the initial law requiring delivery within 14
Yeah.
days.
Basically, I've heard that gold is vaporware. It doesn't exist anymore.
Oh.
Well, I'll tell you this, for anybody who has gone deep into 9/11, you will find that some of the largest gold reserves were in
The Vatican.
Tower 7.
Oh, that really?
And Tower 7, that was not hit by a plane. And Mr. Silverstein, who had a double policy on one on each tower if they were hit by terrorist attacks, so he got paid out double for that, said, there's so much loss of life, and we just felt that it was time to pull it, and so we gave the order to go ahead and pull it. In regards to Tower 7, do you know the term pull it?
Yeah.
In building means to bring it down through controlled demolition. And
With that statement, he could be sued. There's a lot of people that lost their lives.
correct. And yet they've tried to obfuscate and hide that. If you don't know by now, 9/11 was an inside job.
Yes,
and just do a little bit of research. Go to our Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth, and you'll discover that Tower 1, Tower 2, and Tower 7 were the first skyscrapers and last skyscrapers in recorded history of skyscrapers to ever fall at almost free fall speed into their own footprint through office fires after being hit by planes that did not bring them down immediately. But they said that the fire was so hot that it melted the steel.
Top, yeah.
And caused it to pancake at free fall speed, almost free fall speed, into its own footprint, but nothing to see here. And it didn't launch an entire war on terrorism that we've been paying billions and trillions of dollars in laundered money throughout the world.
And all of our civil liberties taken away.
Yes. Do you know that they had the Patriot Act ready to go long before 9/11?
No.
Yes, it was. The Clintons wanted it.
The Clintons wanted it. Do you know that Bill Clinton was very disappointed that 9/11 didn't happen under his presidency?
I bet he was.
And he did say that Oklahoma City bombing, another inside job.
That one was. I'm not convinced of 9/11, but Oklahoma City was an inside job.
You think Tim McVeigh's still alive? I do.
No, I don't. I think he was
fall guy.
He was a patsy and guilty, along with several others that were not, that were Fed. One, there's a Fed involved on there. Andrew Strassmeyer, Elm City, nasty people there, and he was.
If there's
part
one
of
Fed
them.
involved, there's 1,000 Feds involved.
You wouldn't be welcome there.
I know.
Are you convinced of JFK's
They're not good
assassination
people.
being an inside job yet? Because I guarantee you, once the 9/11 files comes out, you're going to change your mind.
This is what I'm anticipating, these disclosures, and then I want to go nuts on them because I'm looking so for. I've studied
JFK's mob.
And mob, CIA, bankers.
No, who did it or who ordered it? Because
I think
APAC.
I think there was a lot of people involved in that.
Well,
and
the tape came out. Well, who ordered it?
Yeah. So I spelled Knox wrong on everybody's paper because I was doing it. Yeah, I spelled Knox. It's an X, not a CKS. So that's dumb. Make sure you guys note that on your paper.
Dan, Loose Change.
Loose Change was phenomenal. And what's it up to? Loose Change?
Well, you just have to watch two.
Part two, yeah.
Was the definitive evidence on 9/11.
Did anybody see this? Dr. Burks. Do you remember Dr. Burks? Sweet old Dr. Burks.
Lady.
Oh, Dr. Burks. She was such a sweetheart.
You gonna put it up?
I would like to.
She's part of the problem.
I can't get the
stand the carrot and stick chick. Oh, the fake doctor that they always would interview. And
I
she's like,
cannot get the
we need to get more people vaccinated, and we're going to have to use the carrot or the stick
there you go. All right, so there's the beast that we couldn't get to. Oh, there's that guy.
Yeah, that's the man.
Scroll too fast.
Well, I'm trying to get to it. First of all right, I'll go to this one first since it's the first thing in here. This is a nice interview here. Alex Jones posting this interview through here. DOGE discovers USAID secretly funneled $4 billion to guess who? Bill Gates of hell.
Yay.
Plus another $880 million to the World Health Organization that also received over $700 million. And what does that mean when Bill Gates goes, it's very, I'm trying to do his voice. I'm trying to remember his whiny little bitch voice.
You can't do it. You can't be a whiny.
You got to do like a Kermit the Frog. But we had a lot of money coming in, and there he is. You know what? I'm going to unmute it and see if it works.
How many contracts?
Stop. My foundation.
My foundation is to fuck people over and really rip them off.
And getting vaccines out. And, there's incredible people. They're not actually worms that work there.
Yeah, they're not.
So, hopefully we'll get some of that work in shape. In fact, if we don't, you could have literally millions of deaths.
Whoopi doesn't look like she just ate cow.
Let's literally just now, and him in his sweater.
Does she look any worse than she could have before?
Dude, she's hideous.
Oh, sorry. No, it's not that critical. Sorry. I mean, does she really look any worse than she could be? I mean,
so Bill Gates whining about it. He's like, and people are going to listen, fucker. You're being sued by multiple countries because your so-called vaccine on polio is actually found out to cause polio.
He has another polio vaccine? Why do we
He's
need a
had
new
it.
one?
He's had the polio vaccine, and polio was
in Africa.
polio's.
Why do we have a new one? We already had a polio vaccine.
Yeah. Well, polio.
We already had a polio vaccine. Why do we need a new one?
I think you're sending a message, Norris.
So
I turn you off when I'm not talking. Jay.
Right.
Okay, all right.
But the polio vaccine that he was pushing, polio has
why
been
do we need a
virtually.
new one? We already have one.
We don't need a new one.
He's testing it on people to kill them.
Is that the mosquito vaccine or something totally
No,
different?
that's
No,
different.
we should be listening to
his own vaccine.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He's a mad scientist.
We like
Oh,
that.
yeah, I agree.
We can just put a jab right in their arm and see how that affects them. That's one of his
We do a
fucking
good
quotes.
job
That's not like
at
Tuskegee all
vaccination.
over
We can
again.
reduce the
No thanks.
population by 10,000 people in span of
No, that's
Now, for those of you that want to
fucking
do
evil.
high school algebra, you've got one of these numbers has to get close to 0, and one of them is just people.
yeah.
And
We
you know
are
what the other one is? Carbon.
We're the
And
carbon
you know-
they want to reduce.
We're the carbon.
carbon.
I'm scrolling down now.
Do you know what
here
the,
it is.
Wait,
Here
do
it
you
is.
know what the atmospheric content of carbon is in the
Oh,
air today?
Burks. That's
By
Burks.
percentage?
Forgot
What's the
about
percentage?
her.
Go ahead, Tim.
0.002%.
Right. It's ridiculous. It's such a red herring. It's such
No,
bullshit.
it's bullshit. Yeah.
All right. Here from the Vigilant Fox on X, Dr. Deborah Birx makes 2 shocking admissions. And what are those admissions? We fucking lied. The
Yeah,
narrative
no shit.
surrounding the COVID crisis is crumbling, and now Dr. Deborah Birx is trying to save her own ass, admitting that conspiracy theorists knew all along in an apparent effort to save their own skin. Dr. Birx, who served as the White House coronavirus response coordinator under President Trump, one of his mistakes.
I don't think so.
What I witnessed was a lot of undiagnosed disease that could have been treated earlier than resulted in COVID deaths. Aw, now you're lamenting it? People fucking died in nursing homes with their grandkids outside of it, not able to touch them.
Yeah,
And
you
you're
had just
lamenting,
given
oh, we
ivermectin, it
overlooked
would've
some
been good.
stuff.
No shit.
Oh, our bad. We overlooked a few things. Maybe we could have done some better stuff. Birx literally echoed what dissonant doctors have been saying from day one. Early treatment saves lives. Instead of listening, they silence doctors like at MD Breath, I don't know who that is, threatened to take away their licenses and let people die.
Yep.
What was remdesivir? Oh, doesn't it kill the kidneys?
Yes,
it destroys the kidneys.
It destroys the kidneys.
And let's put them on ventilators because we don't want to increase the pressure of the ventilator and blow out their
but the
lungs so they die
ventilators
right
is
there.
It's not protecting
Killing that.
people. It's about protecting the program.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Healthy people don't make the pharmaceutical companies money.
Rich. Yep.
This is their Penn State.
Correct.
This is their Sandusky.
Oh,
This is their
And this is their Purdue.
Well,
This is their Purdue
MSU.
Pharmaceuticals.
Hate saying that, but
Well, hopefully,
NASA.
Yeah.
Protect the program, the cover up.
hopefully, maybe I'm not a fan of Kennedy per se, but hopefully maybe he'll get something through and something that'll make sense. I think the biggest thing we need to do is basically get people away from sugar.
Well, there's a lot there. I think the artificial, there's a lot of stuff. But the chemicals in our food and just going after the dyes, just going after the other stuff. And you know what I like? Kennedy's, one of his speeches either today or yesterday, he said nothing in the area of health is off the table. Nothing is off the table. And they're going to look at everything that pertains to health, and they're going to come at it from a standpoint of what is the real true science, what needs to be tested, a holistic perspective. I mean, this guy is already floating, and I understand where you're coming from with RFK, but you look at his track record. He's been suing
for decades.
He's wrong on everything else.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is. Abortion, gun control,
That's his
climate.
opinion, though.
He's wrong
and
on all
that's
that
not
shit.
what he's in charge of.
Right, but the point is, he can still have an influence. I mean, because remember, the CDC has made gun control a health issue, right? They have made climate a health issue.
Are you good with DOGE? Are you good with Elon being in charge of
I'm
DOGE?
not
because that dude wants to get inside your brain.
I'm just saying, you gotta be careful. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, but I'm saying
don't trust anybody, really.
I don't trust anybody.
Trust no
and I
one.
don't trust RFK because RFK, I mean, yeah, he was given that assignment as a payoff for his support.
But when
I mean, plain and simple.
If he stays in his lane,
if he stays in his lane,
good.
that's fine. If Trump controls him, fine.
But
I'm just saying it's a risk that he's taking.
To Jeremy's point, he has stayed in his lane with
So
what
far.
he's been fighting for decades.
Right. I mean, as far as the health stuff, but there's other stuff. There's a whole bunch of other stuff.
True,
That's
but
been that he's.
I don't know. I think we all
though,
need to go get a nice big bottle of red dye and chug it.
No.
All right, hold on. All right,
Good point.
Trump told him. Trump told him that you can have the health program, but the rest of it is off limits, and he agreed to that. And
So as long as that holds, that's great.
The green stuff,
You know, but I hope Trump is monitoring his ass closely and making sure that he's staying on track.
Well, I think that's the whole approach to the administration is.
Now we got that problem.
I think the whole approach to the administration is being transparent. In fact, they came out yesterday or today with Elon and Trump, and they said, look, we don't have to come out here and explain every move that we're making with DOGE. But the reality is, if we don't, the enemies of this country who have an invested interest to keep this money flow going so they can profit from it are going to attack wherever they can. So we feel compelled to explain every move, every step that we're making, whether we actually need to or not. We're going to go overboard in explaining what we're doing. And I think that happens with RFK. I think that happens with Tulsi Gabbard. I think that happens with everybody. But I love the track record of RFK, and he says nothing's off the table. This guy came out and he's like, we're going to look at raw milk. Raw milk needs to be immediately put back, okay? I was able to pick up today, a bottle of Ranch. Tim and I, he did most of the stuff, but we experimented on Ranch for like a month trying to do Ranch ourselves, okay? And I liked a certain flavor of Ranch. I'm not going to say the brand, but I liked a certain flavor of Ranch. And I just went without Ranch for the last, 4 or 5 months, even aside from the couple of tests, because I just wasn't going to eat it when it had the little label that says bioengineered product.
You mean ranch dressing?
Ranch dressing.
Okay.
And I literally found today in the supermarket, my brand that I used to eat, organic, read through the whole label, no bioengineered ingredients. They could be hiding something, and I'll eat it by faith and have God protect me. But the reality is, I read through the ingredients. I looked for the label anywhere. There was no bioengineered label. And I said, all right, this is already rippling through because they got rid of Red 3.
That's not leaving though till 2028.
Right, but they've already done their
companies have started to do it.
Companies are already realizing that they're not going to survive this because there's too much momentum and too many people behind it. And for those dynamics, it's like
excellent.
You put in. You don't want Elon there for a certain dynamics. You don't want Tulsi in there for certain dynamics. You want them in there for the job that they can do. And I believe, having been a leader in church and a leader in construction and doing those things, you look for the strengths and weaknesses of the people you put in charge of stuff, and you realize you can't handle this, but you can handle that. And I think RFK has such a track record. He fought Trump. I love it when him and Trump both have reiterated the stories where he sued Trump because Trump wanted to bring in, I think, a golf course. And Trump says, yeah, he sued me. And he said, and ultimately he was right. And it turned out to be a better project that he put forward. And he said, it's great. And so you're going to have those things on a bunch of the other issues. I agree with you that RFK is wrong. But here's the thing. RFK has openly come out, and this is one of the things I absolutely, the reason that my heart turned towards him. Yes, he's been wrong on a lot of issues, but we've all at this table been wrong on issues that we've had to learn and grow through. And here's one of the things that RFK said, I have prayed for, I don't know how many years, decades.
I think he said 28 years.
28 years. Yeah. He gets up every morning in prayers. At a certain point, God honors the sincerity of that prayer. And his prayer was for the American people to be healthy because he witnessed sickness and disease firsthand, and he wants people to be healthy. At a certain point, God's going to give somebody like that an opportunity to make change. Just like Trump's not perfect in a lot of areas, and he fucked up some stuff in the first administration, picking the wrong people, doing warp speed with the vaccines versus just the therapeutics and other stuff like that. And he was blindsided by that. And he didn't hit the ground running like he's done now. We're a month into it.
He's learned from his first term.
100%. And so you look at everybody and you go, all right, what are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? Who they surround themselves with? How are they doing? What were you going to say, Kelly?
One thing that I think is also pivotal with the whole Kennedy thing is he's been fighting for farmers for years.
Yeah.
For what?
For farmers. Okay. And now he's finally in with farmers being able to make a difference that way.
Yeah.
For their livestock, for the small family farm. Like he's a huge supporter of the small family farms and living local that way.
That's great. Yeah. I got no problem with that.
And that kind of legislation is stuff that Trump's already looked at and doing.
Yeah.
So he's able to connect with it's not just the vaccines, but they're talking about vaccinating our produce.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Literally.
No, they've already started doing it with the COVID vaccine.
Yeah,
well, they're already starting to vaccine our livestock.
Yeah. Especially with pigs.
Yeah.
Well, not to mention that China owns one of our major
pig suppliers.
Smithfield.
Yeah.
Don't buy Smithfield.
Yeah.
Don't buy Smithfield.
Well,
I was one of my close friends. His wife works in shipping, international shipping. She visited that plant, the main huge plant. They've got a couple of them, but then and like came back. So by getting bought out by China wasn't. It didn't take them over the edge of being a huge conglomerate. What do you call that? A big ag.
Well, they were kind of already there.
They were already in that vein. So to be bought out was just another step towards the decadence. We've got to get. I don't know if anybody's ever watched this. If you get a chance, it's an older movie. I don't have any control over my stuff to share stuff, Tim.
I know.
But if on the HBO, this was an older movie. Look up the movie Temple Grandin. Temple Grandin. And that is the name of a lady named Temple Grandin who was, I want to say she was on the spectrum. Let's just put it that way. And Temple Grandin could see things. And she revolutionized at that time the cattle industry. And one of her statements was, yeah, it's awesome. She said, nature is violent.
I'll try to find a clip.
We don't have to be. And so she implemented a whole bunch of stuff into the cattle. She convinced them. Yeah. Thank you. You got get my little camera, Tim. I don't know if that's going to Temple Grandin. But there's an HBO movie. They really did a good job on the biopic on it. And it's all about going in and revolutionizing. We've got to get back to honoring our livestock. Mm-hmm. And we need to be there are things you're not going. I got a couple buddies there. Well, one buddy in particular that's totally vegan, and we tease him and he teases back, not very well because he's vegan. But I go, one, have you ever looked at blood types? You know, if you look up your blood type and then look up blood type diets, Tim picked up a book. Yeah.
I'll get it there in a second.
Tim picked up a book while he was down in Ohio, just out of a secondhand bookstore, and it was blood type diets. Your diet by blood type. And if you do just a cursory, just a surface level study of your blood type by your diet by blood type, you'll be able to change your diet really quick and balance out a lot of stuff, let alone adding healthy stuff and get rid of bad stuff. It's like, just doing some of those things. And so, but Temple Grandin came in and she's like, listen, there are only certain things you can get from animal products.
Here's a trailer.
Go ahead with the trailer, buddy.
My name is Temple Grandin. I'm not like other people.
She's an amazing visual thinker.
Are you a scientist?
I used to work for NASA.
Bang. Anyways.
Can you bring everything you've seen to your mind?
Sure.
Wow.
Can't you?
Excellent work, Temple. Really excellent work.
How'd you figure that out?
Yes. And
He
phenomenal.
can see all around without moving his head.
How is she? She's good. You do remember, though, something's gonna set her off.
So she ended up.
When was she
this is
diagnosed?
great.
She was 4.
The trailer's awesome.
I have done everything that I can for Temple.
Yeah.
We know how different she is.
And
different, not less.
She went through and analyzed all the different aspects of the cattle industry and livestock in general, and was able to just implement little things and sometimes big things, just simple things.
Yes, they do.
Just as simple as she introduced this machine where the cows come into the pen.
It's the dip. It's called the dip.
The dip. They go into the dip, and instead of being stressed out before they're butchered, they go through and they're relaxed to go into
right
that.
there. She follows the nature of the cattle to move in that pattern.
Yep. And instead of having, because if we're going to be meat eaters, we're going to be, right?
Yeah.
We are meat eaters.
Correct. Then we want to do it in the most humane way, and we want to do it in the least amount of. I think about when I had to butcher chickens, right? I looked up my number one thing when I was butchering chickens. And you have chickens. Did you bring some eggs? I was out.
No, I did not.
The hell, Norris.
That's why half the time you
Yeah,
guys
Sam, that's a lot.
You're not allowed to
what the fuck?
fuck.
You
Anyways,
want some? I'll bring some next time.
yeah, buddy. Anyways, but when I had to butcher some chickens in past years, number one thing I looked up was how to butcher them in such a way that it releases the least amount of stress hormones in that moment. And there's a way to do it to where you put them in a relaxed state, and then you just take them out.
Nick their neck. Yep.
You know, a lot of people talk about with a chicken with their head cut off, right? To where you chop them. That's one of the times that's one of the ways you don't want to do it, because they're running around and the stress hormone of not having a head.
They're getting all gamey at that point.
That meat is getting this huge stress hormone released into the meat. And that's what you don't want. You want them to be as calm.
They live beyond that. We chopped the head off a chicken. The damn thing took off and flew up and on the roof of the damn house, and it was stuck in the gutter up, and I had to get a ladder to get the damn thing down. That's serious,
right?
That's why you use the comb.
Yes,
use
the
the
comb.
comb.
This was when I was a little kid. I grew up on a
Right.
farm.
Stainless steel inverted
My
comb.
my aunt had the same
Yeah.
thing, right? She do that and
Wring her neck.
And they'd run.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
no.
like,
You use
what
it.
the fuck?
You
see,
use
he's
an
still moving.
invert. You put them in a cone that you can make out of like a
Stainless.
12-inch piece of 6-inch duct that you squeeze the bottom into a cone. You drop them into the cone. You let them relax. You put a bungee cord gently across, not gently, but you put it across their feet. And when they're at a point where they're really relaxed and they've acquiesced to that situation, literally from behind, you grab the comb, the back of their, and you just literally slit the throat. And it's an easy process. And then there's the butchering. But I'm saying Temple Grandin did this to where there's all these things that we do. And when you have these big ag farms, these big, huge farms, they don't think about that type of stuff. They just think about how quickly they can butcher, get the process, do this numbers.
Bean counters.
Whereas these local farms that RFK has always been an advocate of, they're thinking of what I've raised. When I grew up, when I grew up on the farm from 10 to 19, and then obviously was part of the farm after that, as far as getting meat and stuff like that. These are cows you went out and personally fed. And you knew that they were going to be your steaks and your roasts later and your hamburgers.
I'm pretty sure I've pet the cow out across W that I've eaten.
100%.
I'm pretty sure I have.
And when you realize, it's almost like I know it's done by Hollywood, but one of the best, newest or most recent examples of this was Avatar, in the first Avatar, when they're out hunting and they kill the animal, and as they do that final kill, they say a prayer, and they do that whole thing. That's dynamic. When my son shot his first deer, he literally sent me pictures of him next to the deer with his hand on the deer, and my grandson coming over and putting his hand on the deer, because they're recognizing the life force that has been taken so that they can have life. And you recognize this. And then vegans try to go, well, you're killing an animal. Well, do a spectral analysis of the energy wave when you harvest your garden, because you'll find out that there's a response there as well that you're harvesting. But if you're in harmony with it, the dynamic begins to shift, because now you're in a place of connection and experience versus just beastly harvesting and putting chemicals on it.
Thank you to my garden.
Exactly.
I do. I say thank you. I'm always happy to get.
Dude,
No, seriously. I
you
go
guys-
outside and I clip some cucumbers. I'm like, thank you.
Did you guys see my? You guys pay attention to my big plant right when you come in the front door.
No. We don't even recognize it, Sarah. Maybe
No.
we should.
Sorry.
The smorgasbord.
Didn't even know there was one there.
My big plant right there.
Visuals. Nobody sees
literally.
it, Jeremy.
All right,
Nobody sees
no,
it.
listen.
Nobody sees it.
When they all walk out, they'll go, "Oh yeah, I remember now."
I'll have to take a look when I go.
Anyways, my
Too
big
much to look
my
at,
big
really.
plant is so happy because I got the bulbs now,
Oh.
and it's you fill the
What
bulb
is it?
up.
What kind of plant
So
is it?
I don't know. It's a
I
cool plant.
have those bulbs.
That's a
They're
big-
the awesome things.
Dude,
The water bulbs.
And we got some plants, a couple plants given to us for my mom for memorial, and they're on the ledge there in the main bath. And I put a bulb in there. Oh, you saw those plants?
I did see that.
Okay.
Well, I did. There's never anything above me. So when I looked, I was like, what the hell?
Right? But those are, it's living in harmony with those things. And what I like with RFK is he's looking at raw milk. Has anybody here followed Amos Miller and Robert Barnes?
I have not really.
Okay, so Amos Miller is a farmer out of Pennsylvania, Amish farmer who's been selling his meat and milk and all sorts of naturally grown products. And the FDA went after him, just hardcore.
Oh, I heard. Oh, he's one of the Amish. Okay,
Yeah,
I heard that.
the
I
Amish
think I
farmer.
have heard of the case.
Okay, and Robert Barnes, who was involved with Trump, he's partnered with Trump on
he's
many.
an attorney.
Yeah, Robert Barnes is huge attorney out there, and he's been representing them. And they do the, I want to say it's the 1776 law firm. I think that's correct, Tim. If you can look it up, because my computer's not working. 1776 law firm. They take donations and then they take up these cases. They'll represent these clients for free, and then use the money that they gather from their donations, and they'll do
they
these.
destroyed like $90-some thousand worth of products, threw it all into a dumpster.
Correct. And they've been going after
Yeah,
Amos Miller,
total
and the
bullshit, yeah.
problem they've been having is Amos Miller is selling to people that are there's no coercion, there's no obligation.
Yeah.
All right,
So
taxes
it's strictly voluntary. Right?
strictly voluntary, and there's never been a single report of an adverse reaction. And he's selling raw milk, he's selling raw cheese, he's selling all these things. And RFK is one of the ones that comes in, and we're like, dude, he's an advocate for getting rid of these chemicals in our foods, to getting rid of the processed, whole processed garbage, to get it. And you brought up sugar, and I understand where you guys are coming from.
No, I mean, it's sugar and processed foods in general.
But I'm gonna submit to you guys that sugar, cane sugar,
in its raw
and
form is very good for you.
sugar
but in moderation, right? You don't.
Well,
you don't
everything
want-
in moderation.
Yeah.
Everything in
I
moderation.
did not haul
but
a
the
load
point
of
is-
Pioneer sugar
but the
today.
Cane
point-
sugar and
But
corn
the point is,
syrup.
if you're eating processed foods, you're getting more than enough sugar than what you should get, right?
Well, but they'll put in these other chemicals for the
Plus,
sugar-free
like
stuff.
I said, processed foods in general.
100%.
Right?
And so
if you get rid of processed foods and sugar,
correct,
you're in a pretty good shape. I would say
well,
carbs
if you
in general.
if you go back 300 years ago, right, at one of the heights of the slave trade throughout the Caribbean,
Sugarcane.
it was sugarcane processing that was going on, and we didn't have an epidemic of diabetes or these other things
As a kid.
because it was pure sugar.
But it wasn't also in everything either.
I used to live in Japan
Correct.
when I was a little girl. Not a little girl, but young enough when I was younger.
Well, you were a military brat?
Yeah.
That could have been last week.
That's one thing we would always do.
That's
go through
what's
the
wrong.
sugarcane plant and we pop out the
I
chunk
knew there
and
was
chew on
something.
it. We just
No,
chew on it.
I'm not saying sugar necessarily is bad in
Processed
itself, but the
sugar.
point is, it's in everything, right? If you're
Yeah.
eating
Correct.
processed foods today,
Well,
you get
and most
more than enough.
fat-free, low-fat altered things turn
You're
into
getting sugar in every
Correct.
freaking thing you eat.
100%. Well, and I'll
You know,
submit.
that's the problem, right? So it's processed foods.
Yes.
Because I'm saying when I say sugar, I mean processed food. Because most people eat processed foods.
Correct.
Right.
So I have a
you're
question.
getting more than enough sugar than you ever need.
Would you consider agave nectar something that would you?
I mean, that's part
No,
of it.
I like
mean,
agave
that too,
nectar.
right? That is it.
If it's processed
It's still
into
it's still a
syrup,
processed sugar.
If it's processed into a syrup, because agave isn't just a nectar, you have to make it into that.
Yeah,
just like you
correct.
have to
So
make it
it's
into
still
tequila.
the same. The point is,
You're processing it, and it turns into sugar in your system.
the point is, if you're eating natural foods, meat. So here's my diet in general, right? And I've sworn off of more or less carbohydrates and everything in my diet. So my morning diet is I have chicken, so eggs and maybe some meat. My diet is spinach. I mean, I love spinach.
That's good for you.
I eat spinach all the fucking time.
It's in my
And
salads
in
all
the
the time.
evening, it's meat and spinach, and maybe broccoli. Right. So my diet is pretty simple, pretty easy, and I try to avoid processed food as much as possible, and I don't eat any additional sugar. I don't drink sugary drinks. I don't drink pop. So
Yeah, you do. That turns into nothing but sugar.
okay.
Uh-huh.
I have my
No.
exceptions. There are exceptions that are allowed.
Wait a minute here. Wait a minute. She made a mistake.
Yeah.
She made a mistake.
Whiskey in
Let me explain
moderation.
this to you. Okay. The one drink that a diabetic can drink with a blessing. Can I have the floor for a minute?
Sorry, you got it, brother.
The one drink that a diabetic can drink that is blessed by an MD is scotch. Why? Because it is extremely low in sugar.
Because it's made from peat moss.
Well,
it's the way it's processed.
Whiskey is one of the oldest drinks around.
You know
it's
what?
very good in moderation.
And vis-a-vis, the reason why you can drink scotch and not get a hangover is because it doesn't have sugar.
Well, that's and what a lot of people don't realize. So is alcohol turns into sugar as soon as it hits.
That's
your
what
blood.
I meant.
So I mean, all alcohol
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
but
Pure alcohol.
I don't drink
but, yeah,
alcohol on a
it doesn't help. It doesn't
daily
help. Makes
basis,
it much
right?
worse when you drink sugary alcohol.
Well,
like my buddy over here.
I like his alcohol.
This stuff here.
Well, here's the thing.
His amaretto plus sugar.
Yeah, it's very well known that if we go over to Europe and have the same exact diet, that we don't have the same levels of diabetes, obesity, or ill health, bad health.
Yeah,
because
in the soil, the
here's
air, the
well,
water.
listen, I went
the
processing. Well, just the simple thing is, I went through this with Tanya. With she went through a whole not eating wheat with the what's that called? Gluten allergy. Come to find out, gluten allergy is total bullshit. You know what gluten allergy is? Glyphosate that they spray on the wheat in the last, and there's no such thing as a gluten allergy. And I struggled with it because I'm reading scripture on a regular basis, and you know what it says? Give us this day our daily bread, and all of a sudden, bread is toxic for hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions of people in our society.
Yeah,
I'm like, wait a minute.
My wife feeds me a special bread because of the diabetes thing. She found one that is very, very low in sugars and very low in carbs because carbohydrates turn to sugar.
Correct, but that's not what my point is. My point is the chemicals that they're spraying on it that you don't know anything about, that they don't have to disclose.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's causing these quote unquote gluten allergies.
Well, of course.
It's not a gluten allergy. And so there are companies out there, and I'm going to start making bread again because I used to make bread in the past. I love making beer bread. I love making challah bread, and I'm going to get a
that's what my daughter makes. My daughter makes,
and if you do that, and well, here's one thing, and you talked about the sugar. You're right. On average, the average American eats 150 to 200 pounds of sugar a year. Yeah. Because they're adding it to everything.
2017.
If you look at traditional, if you look at traditional recipes of bread, you don't need to add sugar. It will have its own great taste in it, but we're adding sugar because people have become just like all of our taste buds. You know, it's like taking supplements, and you got to take a break from them. We don't take a break from our sugar stuff, so we don't reset our palate, and so we're looking for more and more sugar, and we got to eat sour stuff. What are you gonna say, Patrick?
You're comparing a couple different types of people. The average American goes into a fast food restaurant 3 or 4 times a week. I never go to a fast food restaurant ever. Same. I'm like him. My diet is pretty bland. Okay, I'll have a chicken breast with some rice and grains and some vegetables and a salad. I'm Mr. Signature Salad guy. Okay, that's kind of how I eat. Mm-hmm. That's a whole hell of a lot different than the guy that's got to drink a pop or 2 or 3 a day, and I'm drinking Diet Pop because it's better for me. Yeah.
Bullshit.
Hey, can
I don't drink pop.
If I'm going to drink, I might have a beer or two, but I also like drinking a little bit of
I drink
scotch because
coffee.
it is low in sugar.
Yeah, I mean, and this is not a daily thing, right?
No, it's not.
I don't eat at fast food restaurants. I go to White Castle.
Oh, God.
Holy shit.
Fast restaurants.
On that stupid
Larry.
note, hey,
No,
can I read something?
What?
They know it's food, but
Hot Tim, what do you got?
From alcohol problems and solutions.org. The subject of alcohol and carbs is usually presented by the media in a misleading and an incorrect way. That is the message of the low carb bartender, carb counts of beer and wine and mixed drinks and more. The liver doesn't break down alcohol into sugar. In fact, most people have a dip in their blood sugar glucose levels from drinking alcohol. Alcohol is eventually broken down in the liver, breaks down into carbon dioxide and water. It simply doesn't create any sugar. It's not true at all. It's a myth. And it's been around for
a long time.
decades.
And in fact, most
You know what?
people with a
I don't
problem.
give a fuck.
I do, but most people with their issues with their liver, and a lot of us have that, is a fatty liver.
Right.
And we need to. There are some simple ways to detox. It's not the funnest way to do it, but I'll tell you what. Try a coffee enema. Look it up. Try a coffee enema.
True.
I'll tell you what.
I'll not try that. Thank you very much.
My sister did that to get rid of the mumps.
Did it work?
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? It doesn't sound. It doesn't sound like
a thing.
It doesn't sound like a great thing, but I'll
This
tell you
was
what.
like 10 years ago.
I've done a number of them, and I'll tell you what.
I drink coffee, but that sounds painful.
No, it's not.
It's
you
not.
you follow directions, and I'll tell you what. It's not something you like to talk about. But then again, we're not in our 90s. If we were in our 90s, we would be talking about this whole show would be about our bowel
my
movements and
gosh.
how good it is.
Do you
So-
know how many conversations I have in a month about having to take the prep?
Take the prep.
The prep
So that was the prep.
The prep.
for your colonoscopy.
Okay.
That prep. Oh.
So all I'm saying is, well, there's
That prep.
But so I gave you the bad one
You had to
first.
drink 25 gallons of
I gave you
Gatorade.
I gave you the
salt solution.
Yeah, I gave you the worst one first, which is the worst one from the sound of it. Once you do it, you're like, okay, it's like everybody here has a bowel movement every single day, sometimes a couple times a day. So to do something
that is the greatest fucking cleanse on the planet. I love that. I mean, it's painful when you do it.
What?
But no, the cleanse
prep.
before the colonoscopy.
Okay.
I mean, but it's like that's like the fucking the meal afterwards, like the greatest thing on the fucking planet.
A very intelligent man that I know who I held in high regard once said that taking a healthy shit is highly underrated in men.
I love it, buddy.
Well,
I go 3-4 times a day.
I know Larry will raise his hand immediately because he's experienced this.
Oh, he gets far
But
out there. I
has
don't know if he takes a
anybody
shit or not.
felt like you have a severe flu 10 minutes to 15 minutes before you take a really good shit?
Not severe, but I noticed the bad one. Yeah.
No.
Just
Why?
a
So you're
down
not as toxic.
feeling.
But the
Never.
fact is your body releases as much toxin as it can that you've built up
Right before you
before you take that shit. It
Oh.
releases it into the lower colon.
Yeah.
And that's what, when you do an enema, is you're using the coffee goes into your lower colon and allows your liver to detox more than it normally does.
Yep.
Because you're creating an opportunity for it to detox. And so when you do a coffee enema, and there's specific coffee that you need to use, you can't just grab your fucking normal latte. And there's a
Yeah,
way
people
to
have-
there's a way to do it. But I'll tell you
Honey,
what,
get me some cream.
every time I've done them, and there's some people that I watch on different podcasts, they're like, I do one once or twice a week. And this dude's in his 80s and fucking surfing every day, running the farm, doing all this stuff. And I go, you know what? There's a few things I might learn from this fucking guy, you know? But I'll tell you what, another one is really good. Take some castor oil, and you can look this up, castor oil liver cleanse.
Ooh.
And you take castor oil and you mix it with, there's a oil another oil that you mix it with or can mix it with. And you literally at night, when you go to bed, you just put castor oil or a castor oil pack, just meaning a cloth with castor oil on it,
It'll soak through your
over where your liver is, and then go to bed. and you will detox the next morning. And that's just topical. You don't have to like literally drink it.
Yeah,
It's
I remember
topical.
the days of drinking it.
I
when
use
was a
castor
kid.
oil for my hair. I use castor oil for my face.
What
I
is
use,
castor
You mean
from?
as topical
It's a
or
seed.
drinking?
It's a seed oil.
It's a seed oil. Yeah, it looks like a little.
No, I mean as
Looks like a nut, but it's
you,
a seed.
Do you drink it or you put a topical?
You can, but if you drink it, it's more of a colon cleanse than
Yeah,
anything.
I'm telling you, for the liver,
whenever I got sick
I
as a
use
kid,
it as a facial
we got the
moisturizer.
castor oil drink,
and it cleans you out.
As fuck.
Yeah.
Well,
But it
Take your
did its job.
medicine.
speaking of that, I knew watching Jesse Duplantis, specifically him, he would tell the story of they had a what was she nanny or whatever she was, black lady, Louisiana, and she watched him being sick, and his mom just was, and she finally came in and made him chicken poop soup. And made him drink it, and he said it flushed him out, and he was never sick like he was.
Oh, that's gross.
It cleared him out. It's gross, but the
There's
reality
something
is,
in the poop. There's an enzyme or something in
Yeah, I
the
mean,
poop.
but
Yeah.
getting that shit out is like the great, literally.
but that's the thing is, so
So
listen.
when my dog sticks his nose in stuff, should I stop him or not?
Well, here's the thing.
That's a whole different story.
That's a whole different story. We're extremely comfortable with a guy in a white lab coat telling us to take a pill that may have the worst fucking side effects and shorten our life. But when we come across something natural that sounds bad, sounds disgusting, we put I do it.
Visceral
We all do it.
reaction. Yeah.
Our visceral reaction is to put our hands up. I was
Shit
watching.
tends to do that.
Well, I was watching a podcast the other day, and this is a guy that does a whole bunch of different things. I was tuning in because he does some specific biogas stuff where they do charcoal, and they get biogas that can run your generator.
Oh,
right?
you
And
store
I'm-
the gas in expendable.
Correct.
I saw that too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm watching it. Well, he veered into it just in the course of their whole conversation, like we've gone off track here.
Yeah. We got to put shit in that bag.
He veered into it, and he says, "You know what? I've been trying." Which he goes, "I know it's going to sound bad to a lot of people." He said, "But my hands were so cracked from doing carpentry that my fingers are splitting. We're doing all this because it's so dried out." He said, "One of my other holistic friends suggested to me urine therapy."
Urine. Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
said, so I took a piss into, he said he peed into a bucket, added water to it to dilute it down. And he said, I soaked my hands for about 5 minutes
And it
in
worked.
that urine. And he said, my hands have never been softer. And he said, we don't do it because it sounds nasty.
I have a friend that does urine therapy on her
You
hair.
do it until you need to do it again. You soak it.
I
and-
make
Your hair's
Yeah.
growing,
my hands are
see,
fucking
and
dry
now it's
in the
nice and
winter.
soft.
Exactly. And you literally
Supple.
you do a treatment of it, and
You
then
know-
when your hands start to get cracked up again, you do another treatment of it. And I'm like,
I can't.
If it works, it works.
If it
Yeah.
works, it
100%.
works.
Well,
There's an
Well, there are
opportunity-
people that
So
drink
you
it.
say you know about from experience?
I know. I personally would not because
Sure.
I have that visceral reaction.
Yeah,
to
correct.
It.
Well, here's another-
But my friend has, and
Right.
Oh, you
I
know
can
somebody
see
has.
it. Yeah,
Correct.
I can see the
There's
difference.
an opportunity here for cracked and aged faces and golden showers, but I'm going to let that one go.
We're
well,
not even
here's the
Oh,
thing.
geez.
in that realm.
Thank you for letting that one go.
Think
I
about
appreciate it.
think about this one. All
Sam
right?
Kinnison says, thanks for the
If somebody
visual.
gets stung by
I'd
a
pee on my own foot if
Because
I
you got
got
stung by a jellyfish. Correct.
I would pee on
Correct.
my own
That's a
foot.
whole different story.
Yeah.
but here's what most people don't know.
Pneumonia.
If you get stung by a bee or some other stinging insect,
Mm-hmm.
immediately piss on your fingers
Mm-hmm.
and touch them to your tongue. Your urine, which is sterile, we learned that from dodgeball.
Yeah.
Is that
It
really
is.
true?
It is
Yes.
true.
I
Look
am
it up.
not
Yes.
peeing on my fingers.
Then you can suffer
Yes.
through the pain, but
That's
you immediately
That's
have
why they tell us
you have
to
an-
wipe front to back because it cleans.
you have an immediate
That's
antihistamine
back to
in
front
your
to
urine
back.
that your body releases to protect you. Now, again, I'm looking at that from just a few steps ahead of you guys of learning it, right? And I'm going, but again, we'll listen to a lab coat tell us to take this drug and that drug and do this therapy and do that
I'm not
therapy.
necessarily on board with them either.
Yeah,
I'm not
no.
bored
Well,
with
okay,
anything right now.
But most people are. Most people are. The white lab coat told me to do such and such. Okay.
Mhm.
Yep.
Mom,
Yeah, I agree.
dealing
You're
with
right.
cancer,
Yeah.
mom and I had a number of different discussions about it. And what I came to, and I said it on the show here, is what works for you works for you. Okay. And what I meant by that was, if it works for you and gives you a favorable outcome, then you go with it. And she followed that path of, this is what the doctors are telling me, knowing that she's been taking supplements and homeopathic stuff most of her life. But when you get to a certain point of desperation, you don't always default to that homeopathic. There have been people that have had stage 4 cancer that then went full bore on a homeopathic stuff and were clean within 2 to 4 weeks of any cancer, no cancer left. The average person defaults to what they're going to go for.
Is that there's so damn many different things out there. Everybody says, "Oh, try this pen here; it'll cure you of cancer."
Well, we said apricot pens, right?
Stop. Well, I've heard that too. It's just different types of waters, and the list goes on. What's real and what's memorized?
Well, it's interesting. I talked to my son. He's in the medical field now, and he said basically diet is not even a consideration for them. It's not at all. So, I mean, taking that into account, it's like how, the most holistic thing you can do is what you put in your body.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Not the after effect, right? Once you get the cancer,
yeah,
you've already suffered the negative consequences of what you've done.
There are more neurons. This is why Scripture talks about the overflow of your heart, the mouth speaks, out of your gut will flow water, rivers of living water, right? Because there are more neurons in your gut than there are in your brain. And we don't realize this. I was meditating on this the other day, just yesterday or today, just where we take antibiotics, right? And just the concept of an antibiotic, knowing most people don't know this,
It
that
kills all your gut.
95 to 98% of your gut biome is foreign bacteria, foreign biome.
Yeah, it kills everything.
And the minute we take an antibacterial, I used to listen to a doctor years ago, even before podcasts were big. He was a radio guy, and he would talk about this. He would say why he actually put out a pamphlet on why he prescribed antibiotics. But he would do antibiotics, and he would instruct people, and he'd say, look, I'm going to give you 16 weeks of an antibiotic treatment because this is going to wipe out the good and the bad, and I want it to wipe out the bad completely before we build back your gut, your good biome throughout your whole body. Yeah. And most of the times, you guys, anybody who's been sick and got a antibiotic, it's 5 to 7 days. Yep. It's not enough to knock out the bad and cause the good to recover stronger than what the bad was. And so what it then does is it creates a super bacteria that we end up living with, and then you're sluggish. You don't feel good on a regular basis. You've got all these things. You're fatigued. You're all this stuff going on because we haven't knocked out the bad stuff. We've just put it into submission and tried to corner it.
I'm trying to think of when the last time I took an antibiotic was.
I haven't taken it in 15 years.
About
years. Yeah, it's been a long time.
How did this DOGE show become health?
You know what? Because
so weird.
Because
RFK.
RFK.
Thank you. No, you're right.
RFK.
That's where the transition was.
Here, right?
We didn't cover this. More broad news on the ICE activities. And AOC may be indicted for trying to help illegals figure out how to oppose.
She needs to be indicted.
She does need to be indicted.
I believe the indictment when it happens.
Every Democrat needs to be indicted.
I'm a cynic on that.
Dan,
I agree with you on that. Yeah,
I would agree with both of you, except I've just witnessed the last 4 fucking weeks of President Trump move at lightning speed, going. He doesn't have any time to waste, and he's going to do this. I would be a cynic with you 100%. But this guy has put the pedal down.
Badass. I agree.
And that beast car is fucking. If they tried to meme him last time of punching through the guy that was driving and grabbing the steering wheel, he's fucking done that now. He's punched through the guy driving and going, I got this. Elon do that. RFK do that. Christie do this. Everybody in his cabinet, he's just like, you fucking do that. You do this. You do this.
If Holman follows through and does what he needs to do.
I think Bondi should just,
Bondi needs to do her part too.
Yeah, because.
I do worry about her on Second Amendment a little bit.
I agree with you 100%.
But if they stay in their
she was
lane.
a red flag chick.
Yeah.
If they stay in their lane and again, remember this.
Trump.
Remember this strategy. Well, but remember the strategy. Give them a whole bunch of opportunity, watch what they do, and then tell them, no, you're not getting that. He came out for red flags, and all of us freaked out for about 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
And then he said, basically go fuck yourself. You're not getting any of that.
Yeah.
And Trump knows the art of the deal.
I hope he does that with this digital takeover and this mRNA on the spot bullshit.
Well, we've touched on it. Listen,
the tech bros that he's getting involved with to on the spot.
I think he's already not publicly withdrawn, but I think him and Elon and a few other people have already said those.
Because Teal's bad.
Yeah, they're fucking bad.
Teal, that whole thing is.
Look
bad.
at this. I want us to keep track of this. I want us to keep track of the gold. This is an emerging thing. This is huge. All right. And if you guys have any of your 401ks or anything that you've got available, and you can do it, check out at least diverting some into gold. Gold is, because the money's not technically there, gold is going to spike huge. And I think that Trump is going to get rid of the Fed. I think he's going to get rid of the IRS.
I hope so.
And I believe he's going to reinstate a gold-backed currency. That's why gold is coming to the surface of there's no gold in Fort Knox. There's no this, because this is why they killed Lincoln.
Only got gold paper.
This is why they killed one of the other presidents. And this is why they ultimately killed JFK. Okay. And Kennedy or Reagan was leaning to that. He acquiesced and went for Reaganomics
After he got shot.
But every president that tries to get us back to a gold-based monetary system and get rid of a central bank that is separate from our constitutional authority, they try to kill him.
Yeah.
And
disclaimer: the host of the show is not a professional financial advisor.
Trump definitely needs to be protected.
If I got to give that disclaimer to tell you to invest in gold, I mean, come on,
you're already not paying attention.
You can go read the fucking Wall Street Journal and see that gold just goes up and up and up and up. And the dollar
I thought I heard something leaking out of Dan, the lawyer brain's ear. He's like, wait a second, is he giving financial advice?
Yesterday,
But I want some gold.
I did have the great pleasure of attending the Heartland School Board meeting.
We're gonna go there.
Yes.
All right, so Larry's shifting gears. Do you want to sign it and make it your final thought, Larry? Because we're at 10:53.
It's going to be a long final thought.
Quick with it.
Because I've been sitting here a half hour
you have 6
waiting
minutes
to bust this out.
You have 6 minutes.
Bust it out. You talked about it earlier.
Yeah. So what we have, I thought there was hope for the Heartland School Board, basing it on one new guy.
Scott.
No, Jeff Scott's already. This one's Jeff Campbell. But apparently what we're seeing is he's just a follower of Cindy Shaw. Whatever Cindy Shaw does, Jeff Campbell
liberals,
does.
Right?
Yeah, Cindy Shaw is one of the leftists. Yeah, she's the worst member on the Heartland School Board. She's absolutely terrible. She's one that voted against removing the rainbow flags out of Heartland schools.
Lovely.
Last night, we witnessed.
She files false police reports too.
She also, she did.
What the fuck is she?
She filed a harassment report against him for telling her the truth on Facebook.
Yeah, I posted her voting record on Facebook, and
how was that?
She called the police.
What?
And I had to be interviewed.
What?
Yeah,
but I mean, it makes sense.
What police? A sheriff?
A deputy.
Really?
Yeah.
They even bothered?
There's even a statement you can pull and read.
Wow.
And she knew that he did nothing illegal.
Yeah, she said right. She told right. I don't.
Can I say cunt? Oh, sorry.
So basically, what the Heartland School Board did, among other things, I'm just going to talk about one thing. And what they did last night was, back in December, the intelligent school board members made a policy to where if you wanted your child in a DEI program, you had to opt in to the program, right?
Okay.
Well, last night, the four liberals,
libtards,
flipped it, so parents now have to opt out of a DEI program.
Isn't that already illegal?
That's illegal. The Heartland School Board got a letter last week from the Trump administration.
Yeah, it's not already illegal.
Telling them to end all their DEI programs, right? Or they will lose $2.5 million of federal funding. Well, they all voted last night to lose $2.5 million
Okay, so let's
of
make that
federal
happen.
funding. So that's what I mean. It's like, we don't believe you, Trump. You're not going to do what you say you're going to do.
Well, let's make that
There should be an outrage and an uproar from the community, taxpayers they're are now going to be responsible for that in order to continue the quality of education in Heartland that you guys have maintained to this point.
What quality?
Is that really quality at that point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a silver lining. If you don't take the federal money, you don't take the strings attached.
Right.
So here's the thing, and that's why the Department of Education needs to die.
Yeah, and so everybody
let that money stay in the
understands,
states and be done with it.
and so everybody understands how stupid these people are on the school board that did this, right? The Great Lakes Equity Group.
Who the fuck is that?
That was who they contracted their DEI through. Their DEI.
Who the fuck is this?
Okay, so let's break it down to this real quick, just so I can.
Grifters.
Okay, literally, what
that goes without
happened
saying.
was a girl said, I was attacked and I was treated poorly and filed a lawsuit. This was prior to COVID. Nothing happened. Okay. So then Department of Justice comes in under Biden and says, hey, you've had racial stuff planted against you. You guys need to do this and make this agreement so that we won't come after you legally. Heartland School Board said, okay, we'll make this agreement and we're going to enter our kids into this Great Lakes Equity Program, which is a DEI program. So if you've been through a business where you have to go learn how you're a racist and how you're privileged, that is literally what this program is. And so
Who was this initial chick?
the initial chick is a girl that is long graduated from Heartland High School. The only person that was involved in that case is the superintendent of Heartland Schools. He is the only one.
Well, there's the common denominator. Gotta
Right.
go.
So, well, no, he's got like a very large contract,
Oh, I
and if they
know.
get rid of him early, he gets payout of his very large
Therein
contract.
lies the problem. It should be that shit.
Anyway,
More
so-
stupidity on the Heartland
So
School Board.
basically, what he's saying is they just said we're going to go ahead and re-enlist DEI, but what nobody's talking about is the fact that all the children that were enrolled into this had their civil rights violated from the get-go because they were called racist, they were called criminals, they were called these things without a trial, without a conviction, nothing, and they were entered into this program.
Right.
It should never been the case.
It should have never been the case. But on top of all of this, the Great Lakes Equity Project
fuck are they?
has been shut down.
It's closed because
It's
it's not
gone.
even an existing program anymore.
Dan's giving the money sign over there.
It's
They
no
just
longer
shut down in the last
funded.
couple days.
And
Oh, you
it's-
mean since the shutdown?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, there's no working
It's
phone
no
number,
longer
no
funded.
working website. It's who they're contracted through. But here comes the morons on the Heartland School Board chugging right along with their stupid Cindy Shaw train,
You know what?
voting
Let
to
'em have
strengthen their DEI
Let
program.
them have
It's
it.
one of
If
their
the
You know,
friends
you
up-
know at a certain
screaming
point,
about
I'm
losing their
almost
civil
saying, you know,
rights.
Who has a
They're not gonna
relationship
follow
with the
resort.
consultants? That's what I want to
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, so Heartland parents are going to be sending letters out this week, starting tomorrow, to the Trump administration, to the Department of Education, and to Pam Bondi, because they've had enough.
Yeah.
They've had enough.
I've already contacted them about Brighton. I can't wait to find out what they do.
No.
All right. Thanks, Larry.
And that's all I wanted to talk about. I'll cover more of it next week. Your computer's down, and I have some videos, but there's always next week.
Yeah, I can't get it to work.
Yeah.
Well, the computer's working, but I can't get the screen.
Yeah.
The screencast to work.
Wild.
Doge gone wild. Let's do this. Patrick, Kelly, Dan, and Norris. Go ahead, Patrick.
Final thoughts?
Yeah.
Well, my final thought is that Scotch is low in sugar.
Zero glycemic index.
I am with you there, 100%, brother.
The other beverage that is low in sugar is Irish whiskey.
There you go.
Because Scotch is double distilled, but Irish whiskey is triple distilled.
So,
So-
touche, which is French for touche.
Touche, yeah. I need more than there. Anyway.
Kelly, go.
Brighton wrestlers are going to states.
Hell yeah.
Go Dogs.
There you go.
Yep. So we will be heading to Kalamazoo this weekend.
Very good.
My kid placed 7th in his division.
That's awesome.
So I was very proud.
Big Dan?
Well, it's a big weekend, and this weekend our party's got a choice to have more of the same, or to take a big step forward. President Trump will not be on the ballot in 2 years, or I should say next year, really.
Mm-hmm.
So we aren't going to have the same support from RNC that we had in the past. The RNC helped Michigan get Trump across the finish line.
Yeah.
Covered up a lot of problems, and there was enough, I'll call it bleeding stopped, for that to get done. But there's still a lot of problems that need to be solved.
Okay.
And I think Senator Runstead can solve a lot of them.
How much do you think the vote will be driven by personality versus overall belief in policy? Fortunately or unfortunately?
Unfortunately, I'm going to say 80%.
80% is going to be driven by personality cults. Not in a bad way of saying cult, but cult of personality.
Factionism.
Yeah, where people just don't look at overall track record.
Protect the clique, protect the program.
Correct. Norris, with that?
I'd say
or final thoughts.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be along the lines of anything.
I mean, let's as far as I guess I'm going to refer to that earlier conversation with Saggy.
And we're not referring to balls or pants.
No balls or pants. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
That's your son.
I've been here for 4 years now in Livingston County.
Mm-hmm.
Have not had an issue.
As far as what?
Racism.
Well, the white supremacist
because you're
you
a
fit
white
right
supremacist.
in.
I mean, dude, you sit right
Jeez, don't you know your own privilege? Come on, Norris.
Don't you know who
He
you are?
secretly got a white privilege card in his
Yeah.
pocket. I know this guy.
So the point is, I love it. This is a great place to be.
Fuck
It's a
yeah.
great county. I haven't had any issues.
Ever.
And I've enjoyed this. I moved here for a reason.
It's a great place.
It's a great fucking place.
And these fucking people act like there's something, and I go,
You know,
what are you
they're
talking
trying
about?
to stir division.
They are.
You know,
That's what they like to do.
And I'm not here to division. You know, I moved here because it was a red county.
Yep.
It was a low tax county.
Yep.
It's a great fucking county.
And
It's
you're
a
one
great
of
county.
us.
Yeah. So you know,
You mean
One of us being
like Republican, not white supremacist?
Livingston County.
whatever.
Oh wait, I totally misread it.
He's got Livingston County
Dan
values.
meant
That's what I mean.
when he
Livingston
said one of
County
us, he wasn't even looking at me. He was looking at you and Patrick, going, "Scotch brothers, the three
I'm
Irish
on-
Scotch brothers here."
Celtics.
Yeah, so
You do
I
have a
get
lot of Irish people at this table.
Jesus,
You do.
I would have never guessed with
Black
the red hair.
Irish.
You know, there's some kind of supposedly, if I go back to my history, there's some German in my background.
Oh, we can see it.
But he's Irish too.
I played it. I made the kids pull it up the other day. We were out to dinner, and I made the kids pull it up on their phone, and it was ever seen the guy who does the words? It's like hospital. It's a Krankenhaus.
Oh, it says in German. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's all the words in German that there's like butterfly. The Fleikenzogen. And you're like, every single German word is like this angry fucking punch you in the face. You're like, damn, dude. Anyway, so it's funny stuff.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean,
I should play this clip for my wife. She's German.
like I say, I mean, you know, somebody said call me a traitor earlier, but you know, whatever.
Called you a traitor.
You know, huh?
Just keep.
Yeah, whatever. But anyway,
Sage.
my thing is, you know, I love Livingston County. I'm happy here.
Yeah.
I moved here for a reason.
Yeah.
And I regret it.
I've been here since 2007, dude, and it's a wonderful place
You know,
to be.
and I never had any issues. And,
Yeah. Almost everyone I've met, salt of the earth people.
Granted, you know, it's exactly. You know,
Same.
are there assholes everywhere?
Everywhere.
Absolutely.
There's assholes everywhere in every demographic, every ethnicity.
So
no
Saggy
matter what
can
you
go
do.
stick it up their fucking ass.
Oh, it'll fall right back out.
Yeah, you know.
Fall
So the point is, they claim they're going to show up on the 24th. We need to show up in bigger numbers.
What's the event for that?
County
Well, at the
commissioners
county
meeting?
commissioners meeting. So anyway,
you know what we'll do? Tim will be gone, but I will figure out some way.
And
We'll
best
have the
wishes
big.
to you, Tim.
We'll try to figure out a way to have the big camera there. And you know what? They won't show up because when they know they're being videotaped and they know their bullshit
I'll
cannot.
carry the big camera. Just show me what buttons to push.
I will have you take the
I'll
big
do it.
camera because the minute you put a big camera in front of these fuckers, and we proved it with multiple school board meetings, they shrink back. They don't go to the podium. They don't talk because they know what they're going to say is going to be videotaped, and they think they have anonymity if there's no video camera there. And I'm like, dude, you're being taped anyways. It's going to be published. But that's the type of people they are. When a big camera's in front of their face, they back up because they know. Listen, I don't have any problem sharing my thoughts and my opinions. I do tailor my thoughts and opinions according to the crowd in front of me because I'm sensitive to the people there. Listen, if I've studied something for 30 years, I don't just slap it in your face on day one. I give you a hint. That's just yeah, we're good.
Is that him?
Huh?
Is that him?
Who is that?
With the angry.
Yes, that's the guy. Yeah, that's the guy. Yeah, how German sounds. Yeah, he's fucking awesome. But whenever I'm speaking to people, I'm sensitive to what they're.
Absolutely.
I'm not shying away from who I am, but I'm being sensitive. These leftists have no concept of understanding the people that are sitting in front of them.
Well, that's because if you don't think like they do,
Then
you're wrong.
You're wrong.
Evil.
Yep.
And so
more than just the leftists, I want to respond to something you were talking about, and you're talking about as well. You guys have this convention coming up, and you're on your phone, and I'm talking to you. Okay.
I'm listening too.
Unless whoever you bring in is willing to weed out the power hungry, I want to be in control, I'm taking over this party people out of the Michigan Republican Party. We're going nowhere. I'm going to tell you why. Because there are a lot of people just like me. I'm a delegate. I was on the executive committee, and I was the chairman of the election integrity committee. And I walked away because I got tired. I got tired of the bullshit and the people who wanted to throw me under the bus and the
they did throw you under the bus.
The intimidation that went on around it.
Amen.
I'm talking about litigation and stuff like that. I didn't want. I tried calling your wife about it to discuss it with her. Okay, it was pretty much to a point where I'm thinking to myself, I'm not willing to take my wallet out and start throwing down tens of thousands of dollars to defend myself because of these assholes. I'm walking away. And there are a lot of people that did. A lot of really good delegates that are just saying, screw this party. I don't need it. And that's what's happening. And unless we get to a place where we're all working in conjunction with each other to try to attain a common goal, we're going nowhere. We're just spinning around in circles.
We had, I think, 12 people running for delegate the first time I ran. Just local delegate. 12 in my little precinct delegate. 12. Okay. I was the fifth. So there's 7 spots, 12 delegates, 12 people running. I believe I was the 6th or 7th delegate. Nobody knew who I was. They just, so I made it in 6th or 7th, right? I become a delegate. A week later, I'm showing up at a county convention and voting for people, and I'm just getting into this. I met Larry, and it's been downhill from there. But
Larry, you got the effect on people, man.
Yeah. But
just ask the Saggies.
2 years later, I run for delegate again, and there's 5 of us running total. What happened? All of this grassroots swell of MAGA people, Trump supporters who saw somebody who echoed our beliefs and actually followed through on it, then got involved in the local politics and saw the bullshit that was going on and said, I'm not fucking into this. And exactly what Patrick is saying, exactly what Dan's looked at, we've got to get back to a place where you don't have to believe everything they believe, but we got to trust our leadership and know that our leadership cares about the grassroots. And I don't mean grassroots to cause a faction. I mean the people that actually are out there day in and day out doing the work for the party. Those are the people that need to be supported.
Trust is the number one problem in inter-parties matters is trust, or I should say lack of it.
Yeah.
And there's reasons for lack of it.
Legitimate reasons, and people have their grievances, and so we've got to start dealing with that. And I think what you guys have, Larry tried to push me, and I wasn't in the mood for it. I like to talk about politics, I like to do that, but once I got inside, I saw some stuff that I just turned my stomach. And I'm a person. Larry likes to banter with the Saggies and stuff like that. I'm a person. I like to find. I'm long before Trump ever emerged to be the guy we see today. I'm like that. I want to find the win-win solution. I want to find the common ground. I want to find the art of the deal, right? To where we both come out feeling like we've gotten something out of this deal. And that's what he tries to do. You read the book, you understand that as he wants everybody walking away from the table, even if they didn't get whatever they wanted, they got something to feel like they benefited from the deal that happened there, And so I look at it from that place. I also understand that scripture says that peacemakers who sow in peace raise a harvest of righteousness. I want to be a peacemaker all the time. So I don't look to fight with people. I don't look to go out of my way to attack people. I don't go out of my way to try to poke the bear, right? I'm looking to try to find the peaceful solution to situations that are around me. And I think that people that tend to be power hungry, that just want a position, that just want the pat on the back, I've shied away from more opportunities to be a leader in situations because I don't covet that. Being a leader is if you're a leader, it's automatic when the situation presents it. But shying away, it's like, you know what? I don't need to do this. What are you gonna say, Dan? We'll finish.
Like I say, I'm not running for re-election as chair, and a lot of almost all of it's the stuff at the MRP.
Yeah.
And that a couple of decisions made that personally put me at major risk of tens of thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to risk that. That's number one reason I'm out.
Right.
But I also 3 years ago, after my third term at LCRP, 2018, I just saw the writing on the wall and what things were going, and I planned on 2 terms anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need the title.
And I've always seen from your leadership as you trying to clarify and streamline and make it work better. Always seen that with you.
Yeah.
Whether you were just standing there next to the current chair in county and just raising your hand. First time I saw you, I'm like, who's this guy? And you're raising your hand. You're like, point of order. It's not like that. And you were just clarifying. And I got to know you. And I'm like, I got this. And from that point on, I got to know Larry again downhill. But I brought.
But I'll say the good thing.
You've been on the show. What? This is probably your 10th time being on the show.
Something like that. But the
frequent offender.
7th district. One of the things that I'm proud of that we did in my short term, 2 years here, is we got Tom Barrett elected.
Right.
And
that's a huge milestone.
Took a lot of work, and we're getting a lot of funding because one of the problems, if MRP's struggling, everyone's struggling at the party on fundraising.
Yeah.
Because shit rolls downhill. This hour I'm just going to say the term. But
did he say shit?
Yes, I did.
Fucking A, Dan.
But that's what happened. So I had to be creative and find different ways. Run probably an extra $20,000.
Yeah.
And we had election integrity plans for election day, as well as maxing out our donations.
Right.
And we're down there. My wife and I were down there too in East Lansing, not getting paid a dime for it.
Right.
And we stopped some shenanigans from potentially happening down there.
And that's what we need to do. Boots on the ground, and we got to get people back engaged. But
I'm not saying for pats on the back. I'm saying we need to win.
No, I agree with you. But we've got to, and we've also got to send a message to leadership to go, listen, you want boots on the ground? You want the people that are actually doing the work? This can't be a top-down organization. It's got to be a grassroots thing. And I don't mean grassroots to cause a division dynamic. I'm just saying
there's grassroots
people
and
that are on the
self-proclaimed
ground,
grassroots, and they're different people.
Correct. I'm saying the people that are on the ground who believe in make America great, country first, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those dynamics. those people need to be empowered and supported by our party, not marginalized and put aside because they don't do this or do that right. So with that, guys, check out the AlexJonesStore.com/This Is My Brain. Great products on there. Like, share, and subscribe. Hit that thumbs up button. And appreciate everybody in chat. I know that Kelli and Larry were on their phones a lot, interacting with everybody in chat. So if we missed something, I apologize for that. But it's I like to do the dialogue here and have a good conversation with everybody. But really appreciate it. Thanks, Dan, for coming out tonight.
Sorry to my wife, I'm running late.
Good night, everybody. Jim Runstead for Michigan.
Oh, Larry's putting in
GOP chair.
He's putting it in there.
And Sage is a hate group.
You think so?
Yes.
All right. With that, guys, we'll catch you next time. Like, share, and subscribe. Catch you next time.
Let's end with some foreign words.
Aero.
Aeroplane.
Flugzeug.
Surprise.
Surprise.
Sorpresa.
Surpreso.
Sorpresa. Überraschung.
Grubenhassen.
Papillon.
Butterfly.
Butterfly.
Farfalla. Mariposa. Schmetterling.
Schmeckenmeter.
Stilo.
Pen.
Pen.
Penna. Plume. Kugelschreiber.
Kugelschreiber.
Marguerite.
Daisy. Margarita. Margarita. Gänseblümchen.
Ambulance.
Ambulance.
Ambulance. Ambulanza. Ambulancia. Krankenwagen.
Krankenwagen. Later, guys.
Science.
Science. Ciencia. Ciencia.
This is my brain.
Dad, that's an egg. Yeah, that's an egg.
Honey.
Dude.
That's an egg.
Seriously.
That's an egg. It's a metaphor. It's still an egg. That's an egg.
I would challenge you.
That's an egg. I know my brain is not actually an egg, okay? It's a metaphor.
Metaphor or not, that's not your brain.
It's just an egg.
Una cerveza para mí. My egg is my brain.
Can I at least have some bacon, maybe some sausage with that egg, though?
Oh, I want some bacon. I want crepes.
Have some bacon and pancakes with that egg.
I'll take it with cheese.
Extra large, brown, cage-free eggs.
Can I have your brain with hot cakes?
A little sausage and a little toast and potato.
That would be great.
Does it have antibiotics?
I don't know, man. I'm not good at this shit.
Well, they got to be able to resist some diseases.
You resist the disease.